75 degrees. The National Weather Service confirms 2 EF1 tornadoes touched down yesterday in the region. We'll have more at 6:03.
The state-appointed board taking control of the St. Louis City Police Department is asking for millions more to make needed repairs to buildings. Are they spending the money they currently get? We'll get answers next hour.
I'm Tom Ackerman in Jupiter with the Cardinals. The very latest on the club. They play at home today at 6:15.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A cool but nice day today with sunshine and a high of 56.
In CBS News, President Trump declares victory in Iran, but that country has continued a series of attacks against its Middle East neighbors.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
The Iran war has entered day 13. Israel's been pounding Hezbollah targets in Beirut. The IDF says it's intercepted Iranian missiles over Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Linda Gradstein reports from Jerusalem.
The army said it struck dozens of Iranian regime infrastructure sites in Tehran and western Iran Wednesday, and then launched what it called an extensive wave of airstrikes on regime targets in Tehran overnight. Iran continued rocket salvos at Israel overnight, sending millions of Israelis to bomb shelters. Israel said there were no casualties in the Iranian attacks.
Iran's strikes on commercial ships in the Persian Gulf are triggering price spikes. Today, the International Energy Agency reported the largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. IEA member countries, including the U.S., have now agreed to open spigots on emergency stockpiles. Mike Summers has the American Petroleum Institute.
We think the most that they can do is about 7 million barrels every single day. That will provide some stability to oil markets, but it's still not enough. There's no replacing the 20 million barrels of oil that go through the Straits of Hormuz, and it has to be solved.
Crude prices topped $100 a barrel today. The national average for gas in the U.S. at $3.60 a gallon. Higher prices for gas, groceries, and housing are making it tougher for Americans to pay for health care and other necessities.
15% of those surveyed by the West Health Gallup Center on Healthcare in America said they had borrowed money in the past year to pay for medical expenses. 11% said they had skipped a meal. More than a quarter had put off a surgery or postponed a vacation. Even families with incomes well above $200,000 said they're putting off having a child or buying a home or retiring. Health insurance premiums for families with coverage through an employer have climbed to nearly $27,000 a year. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
President Trump laid into a fellow Republican lawmaker at a campaign stop in Kentucky. Mr. Trump called Congressman Thomas Massie a nut job and other choice names.
I could give him the best things in the history of a Republican voter, and he'd vote no. There's something wrong with him.
He's endorsed Massie's opponent, Ed Galrine, in the May primary. It's time to invest in a pooper scooper if you live in Hoboken, New Jersey.
It's really unacceptable, and people should be more respectful of their neighbors.
After this month's melting snow left behind stinky little surprises, Mayor Emily Jabour issued a new warning.
Failing to pick up your dog's poop could result in fines of up to $2,000.
Dow futures down 234. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
It is 6:03, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we have clear skies, 34 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Brian Feldman. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe has ordered flags to fly at half-staff in honor of a Butler County firefighter killed in the line of duty. Shift Commander Jackson Warren died March 6 when the brush truck he was driving to a grass fire crashed and overturned. Flags will be lowered at government buildings in Butler County, firehouses statewide, and the Firefighter Memorial in Kingdom City.
An EF1 tornado did touch down briefly in rural St. Clair County with maximum winds of 94 miles per hour early Wednesday morning. It was also an EF1 in Morrow Township in Madison County. Just over 1,200 people are still without power in Madison County and about 400 in St. Clair County.
St. Clair County Emergency Management Agency Director Herb Simmons says, fortunately, there were no injuries.
Now the neighbors are pitching in, helping one another clean up their yards, and the good thing is it looks like the people were insured, so that's always a good thing.
The areas that were hit by the twister are Marissa, Lensburg, and St. Labori. Simmons says fire chiefs from those areas all reported the tornado warning sirens all sounded. Simmons says Ameren, Illinois had a 75-foot pole that was still energized. However, power had to be cut in order to reset the pole. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The American Red Cross of Illinois has deployed volunteers to help out residents impacted by tornadoes in Kankakee County. WBBM's Carolina Garibay reports.
Red Cross volunteers have been preparing to help Kankakee County residents for days.
Our teams were working day and night to prepare everyone to be able to get to these communities that have been affected by the storms. And so the preparation has been going on for days, meeting after meeting.
Annabelle Monhe with the American Red Cross of Illinois is assisting with the organization's shelter set up at Kankakee Community College. She says people can come in for food, shelter, or just to hang out or receive support from volunteers.
For example, we had one woman walk in and, her house was fine. Her car was damaged, but they don't have power. So she came in with her son and they're just charging their phone, kind of hanging out while their family gets a hold of them, and they'll get the help that they need. But the shelter is open for anyone who needs it.
She says the Red Cross also has teams out assessing storm damage, ready to help those who may have been displaced.
A former Florissant police officer faces a prison sentence after searching the phones of 20 women for nude photos. The FBI St. Louis division says 31-year-old Julian Alcala illegally searched the women's phones after pulling them over. He told the victims he needed to take their phones back to his patrol car to confirm their insurance or vehicle registration, and then took photos of the women's pictures. Alcala was sentenced to 2 years in prison.
The state-appointed board of police commissioners using placeholder numbers when building their budget request, representing a building maintenance funding increase in the millions. How does the city's budget director feel about that?
Well, when I hear a placeholder, it just tells me that something hasn't been thought out thoroughly yet. So you would like to see something a little bit more definitive than what's called a placeholder.
Budget Director Paul Payne, he says the police department has only spent around half of their budget allocated for facility maintenance. He says larger renovations have gone through the Board of Public Service, and there are many needs across the city.
We have an inventory that's over $400 million, and so we evaluate that, and we have a capital planning process for addressing that. It doesn't get to everything, but we try to do what we can with what we have.
Of the $16.4 million meant for maintenance, the board moved over $3 million to other needs in January, including overtime pay, workers' compensation settlements, and tasers. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
This Heritage and Freedom Fest in O'Fallon, Wentzville Days in Wentzville, and Oktoberfest in St. Charles City.
That's Mike Nunnery, Civilian Operations Manager for St. Charles County's Real-Time Information Crime Center, or ITIC. On all the different cities the county will be able to cover.
So events like that will be able to operate out of here. We've got a full radio console in there. We'll use that along with cameras throughout these cities to put eyes on scenes and give officers as much information as we can.
Nunnery says the RTIC will be able to share information with responding officers from different cities like Wentzville and St. Peters.
From the KMOX Business Desk, up for a vote today, an additional sales tax at Energizer Park. The St. Louis Port Authority considering a 1% tax that would reimburse the stadium developer for groundwater contamination costs it encountered during construction of the soccer stadium. The contamination likely due to abandoned underground fuel tanks from long ago. However, the developer had to install a system to divert that groundwater away from Energizer Park for treatment before it could be discharged into the sewer system. According to the Business Journal, a public hearing on the tax increase will be scheduled.
It is 6:08, and we'll take a look at the traffic and the ever-changing weather when we come back here on Total Information AM.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-566-3062. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-566-3062. That's 800-566-3062. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
KMOX News Time 6:10. Let's get a check of our roadways with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're headed through downtown right now, Brian, we have that jam on eastbound 44 that begins at the Poplar Street Bridge out onto westbound 70. That crash just west of the Musewell Veterans Bridge. Just the right center lane, it looks like it's blocked now, so there's one lane blocked, so not as bad. The Musewell Veterans Bridge really doesn't have a backup, but of course, eastbound 44, like I said, it's solid jam back to the Poplar. They just called out for a crash 70 near Grand as well. I'm not seeing any delays there, though. We do have a roadwork jam already this morning. It's westbound 370. They're down working there, and I think it's the two left lanes, just one lane open, westbound 370 at 141, and traffic is backed up almost to St. Louis Mills. Other than that, the rest of the highways right now are light and on the go for you. Just heads up after 9 this morning. They're going to start some emergency repair work westbound 5570 between 203 and 64, and that'll run through Saturday at noon. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Plenty of sunshine today. A nice afternoon, albeit on the chilly side, the high 56. Partly cloudy and breezy tonight, till 47. Tomorrow, partly sunny, a gusty wind, high 60. Some sunshine Saturday, becoming breezy, high 63. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Right now, we've got clear skies, 34 degrees downtown.
The news continues at 6:12. Missouri launching a 6-month effort to craft its next energy plan, focusing on how the state will meet future power demand. State Department of Natural Resources Director Kurt Schaefer says the plan will project those needs and model scenarios to help Missouri weigh the costs and benefits.
When you look at the extended life of a nuclear plant, which on a coal plant may be 30 years or a solar field may be 30 years, when you're talking about investing in a facility that's going to produce electricity for 80 years, that tends to be cheaper in the long run for ratepayers. So that's why I think nuclear is really back on the table.
Schaefer tells Missouri Net the new energy plan aims to boost Missouri-based power generation that's cost-effective and does not rely on expensive out-of-state transmission.
A utility company is disagreeing with the findings of E. coli in the water in Cahokia Heights. That dispute comes after multiple home kitchen tap water tested positive during recent resident-led testing in Cahokia Heights. Illinois American Water is disputing those claims, calling their testing informal, but the efforts to collect samples to test are growing. The East St. Louis NAACP says they'll begin collecting and testing the water, and Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski is calling for the CDC to investigate.
For 50 years, Beyond Housing has been helping people find affordable housing. In this current economy, Beyond Housing President and CEO Chris Kremeyer says it's harder and harder to secure the capital to build more affordable units.
People who are doing well are doing well. People on the bottom, 25% of the economic scale are struggling mightily. So it's harder and harder for folks to pay rent.
Krameyer says there's high mobility rates among lower income people, in part because they bounce around, either unable to afford rent or leaving places that landlords don't take care of.
We'll get several hundred calls every month for the handful of vacancies that we have. I mean, we literally only have 2-3 vacancies every month.
He says mobility is not great for kids who bounce around to different schools and fall behind.
A St. Louis real estate advisor says the share of first-time home buyers has hit the highest national average it's been in 5 years.
We are seeing a significant influx of first-time home buyers. Interestingly enough, they're older than they were 5-10 years ago. They're starting out later.
That's Mark Gelman with the Gelman team. He says one reason for that spike could be last month's national increase in home sales. Gelman says the overall supply of homes is still tight in the St. Louis region.
A new state of Illinois initiative launched the other day, offering thousands of dollars to some first-time homebuyers.
Those who qualify for the Access Home program can receive up to $15,000 to help with the down payment or closing costs. The assistance is provided as a 0% second mortgage, and repayment can be deferred up to 30 years unless the house is sold or refinanced. There are limitations on household incomes to qualify. More information can be found online at ihdamortgage.org. Mai Martinez, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Tom Ackerman with the Cardinals here in Jupiter, Florida. They are going to be checking in here shortly to get ready for a game against the Mets at 12:05 Central Time, 11:55 pregame. And we have the game on KMOX today. The Cardinals and the Mets, Michael McGreevy. He's in the Cardinals starting rotation. Sean Manaea is the same for the Mets. Good pitching matchup there. You can imagine there will be some big names in the lineup today. Nolan Gorman could be one of those. He had an RBI single yesterday in West Palm Beach, although the Cardinals lost to the Nationals by a final of 3-1. The highlight there, Dustin May, I would say, making the start. He, in 3 2/3 innings, allowed 1 run on 2 hits. He walked 2, but he struck out 3, finished with a strong strikeout, and the Cardinals watched their big redhead starter go another 3 2/3. He'll continue to ramp it up for the start of the regular season. Cardinals have not officially announced an opening day starter yet, although it's speculation that it will be Matthew Liberatore. World Baseball Classic. The United States did get in after all. What a snafu that was, as Mark DeRosa, their manager, thought that they had already punched their ticket. Those were his words. But as it turned out, in the game against Italy, they backed off a little bit, thinking they were already in a tiebreaker scenario with Italy and Mexico. Only 2 teams would get in out of those 3 based on runs allowed. So they needed to make sure they watched the math on that. They ended up losing the game 8-6. Then they had to sit there and wait yesterday to see if Italy could beat Mexico to put them in. And they did. Italy did beat Mexico. 9-1 was the final. So the United States and Italy move on to the quarterfinals of the World Baseball Classic. The U.S. will get Canada in Houston. Last night, I went down to Miami to watch Albert Pujols manage the Dominican Republic. I am here to tell you that was a phenomenal atmosphere. Baseball like you haven't seen in terms of a crowd, in terms of noise and enthusiasm. It was like going to a World Cup game and baseball was taking place. And the Dominican Republic held off Venezuela at Lone Depot Park. 7-5 was the final. The Dominican Republic cracked 4 home runs in the game. Juan Soto sent the crowd into a frenzy with a home run in the first inning. But Venezuela is tough, and they held in there. Wilson Contreras and crew tried to make a game of it in the 9th, but ended up losing 7-5. So the DR advances to play Korea. Venezuela does make it as well. They'll play Japan in the next round. Robbie Avila is the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year. 12.6 points per game for the Billiken Center, 4.1 assists per game, nearly 2 3-pointers made per game. He is dealing with plantar fasciitis heading into Friday's 10:30 a.m. quarterfinal game against the winner of Fordham and GW. Missouri State beat Liberty last night, 77-69 in the Conference USA tournament. That is a shocking win over the number 1 seed. They'll play the winner tomorrow of Louisiana Tech and Middle Tennessee. Those 2 teams play today, so a day of rest for the Bears. Mizzou plays Kentucky today at 11:30 in the SEC tournament. Illinois plays in the Big Ten tournament tomorrow in the quarterfinals. Blues play tonight at Carolina. They face off at 6. I'm Tom Ackerman in Jupiter on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising. When it comes to your hearing, you deserve expert care. At the Audiology Center, you're treated by certified audiologists Dr. Colleen Bosler, Dr. Adam Foss, and Dr. Bailey Campbell, meaning 8 years of advanced education, clinical expertise, and a commitment to best practices.
Charlie, we offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so you get what's best for you. Every patient receives individualized testing, precise fittings using real ear measurements, and personalized programming to ensure your hearing aids perform exactly as they should. And our care doesn't stop once you leave the office. We're committed to helping your hearing aids last through ongoing adjustments, maintenance, and long-term support at no extra cost. Better hearing is personal, not one size fits all. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com. And let's take that first step together.
Now, the news at 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
621, Brian Feldman alongside Debbie Monterrey on Total Information AM. Let's go to Roger Brand in the overhead company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got issues downtown, Brian. If you're on eastbound 44, we have a jam approaching the Poplar Street Bridge, and it runs out through to about the north leg of the arch. It looks like right around the Eads Bridge just past there near the Horseshoe Casino. We have another incident. The earlier crash we had was westbound 70 west of Madison, just past that point. That one still has a lane blocked, and there's still a short jam for Mutual Veterans drivers. It's just backed up at the Missouri bank of the river as you get on to the Missouri side. But like I said, eastbound 44 backed up approaching the Poplar. It looks like you have a separate, either could be a stall or a crash. I can't see it, but it is blocking right near the Horseshoe Casino. We have that road work back up westbound 370 west of the Mills out to 141. It's down to one lane. They have 2 lanes shut down through there. Other than that, the rest of the highways don't look bad. We're getting a little busier, so there's a little hint of a slowdown right around Mattis Road, northbound 55, and a little hint of a slowdown north of Bayless. Still look okay on 64 through the O'Fallon, Fairview Heights area so far. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, we are kind of all over the place, but I guess we're used to that by now. So today and tomorrow, we're looking at some sunshine. High today, 56. A few more clouds tomorrow with a high near 60. 63 with sun and clouds on Saturday, but storms moving through on Sunday. That'll make the temperatures plunge from a high of 66 into the 40s, and then maybe we might even see some snow by Sunday night. Clear now and 34 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 622. Dozens of protesters gathered outside the Missouri Supreme Court Tuesday to rally against lawmakers' efforts to redraw the state's congressional map.
Following President Donald Trump's direction, Governor Mike Kehoe called Missouri's legislature into a special session in September to redraw the state's congressional districts. Since then, members of progressive groups such as People Not Politicians have been remonstrating against that effort. Protester Catherine Kaiser, who collects signatures for People Not Politicians, says the issue has inspired her to care more about Missouri politics.
I am Missouri, and I have a right to stand up for what Missouri should be, and that Missouri is the people.
Opponents of the redistricting say Kehoe's move was unconstitutional. According to them, Missouri's constitution bars the legislature from redrawing maps without new census data. I'm Alex Gribb, Missouri News Network.
A House bill is back this legislative session that would toughen Missouri's initiative petition requirements.
The bill, sponsored by Missouri Republican Brad Branderman of St. Clair, would tighten signature gathering rules, impose stricter petition formatting requirements, and increase penalties for fraud. Kay Park with the League of Women Voters opposes the measure, saying petitions can already be thrown out under existing restrictions.
What really matters is how many Missourians want to sign that petition. And when people sign that, it does go back to be evaluated. The current initiative petition process is already very arduous and prohibitive. This bill makes it even more difficult.
A Missouri House committee could vote on the bill soon. Beth Coughlin, KMOX News.
The Dome and Convention Center need a combined $200 million in renovations, as both only have half of that in the bank. Can a new bill in Jefferson City help?
These funds won't solve that problem, but in baseball terms, it gets us to first base.
Brad Dean, the CEO of Explore St. Louis, he tells KMOX their financial situation could be improved if a bill is passed and signed by the governor, combining the ownership of the Dome and Convention Center under one board.
There hasn't been a clear vision on where we're going long term with these facilities. And because you have two boards and two owners, oftentimes it's not that they're conflicting, they just have different sets of priorities.
Dean says currently the broken up governance has left tax revenue generated by city and county hotels for the facilities underutilized. So far, the bill has passed the Missouri House. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Washington University is partnering with 7 other Midwest universities, setting up shop in San Francisco.
Be able to put ourselves out there in the Bay Area and pitch our companies that are being developed at these institutions in front of what is one of the biggest sources of venture capital in the United States.
That's Washington University's Doug France. He says WashU innovators have led to as many as innovations have led to as many as 40 current startups in St. Louis and as many as 1,200 jobs. The hope with Third Coast Foundry is that these startups can have greater access to venture capital and remain here.
The Department of Justice has reached a tentative settlement with Live Nation, the concert giant that includes Ticketmaster. But KMOX's legal analyst Brad Young says some states not satisfied with the $300 million settlement.
But the real question is Ticketmaster still operating effectively as a monopoly? And I think that's what the states are going to try to get the courts to decide.
Part of the settlement charges Ticketmaster with creating a new ticketing system other companies can also sell tickets on, although that feature aims to promote competition between companies. Young says some states not convinced it will actually topple Live Nation's monopoly.
An Illinois law that prohibits people with nonviolent felony convictions from ever possessing a firearm is now under review by the Illinois Supreme Court.
Capital News Illinois reports the case involves James Benson, a Cook County man who was convicted of unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. Benson had previously been convicted of unlawful use of a firearm without a firearm owner's identification card. Benson's attorney argued the state law prohibiting him from owning a firearm violates the 2022 U.S. Supreme Court ruling that said gun control laws have to be consistent with the nation's historical tradition of regulating firearms. Attorneys for the state say the law is constitutional and that there's a long tradition in America of prohibiting convicted felons from owning firearms. The court did not say when it will issue a ruling. Beth Coughlin, KMOX News.
KMOX News Time, 6:27. We'll check traffic and weather at the bottom of the hour.
And that time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are talking about colorectal cancer, and joining us is Dr. Jean Wang, a WashU Medicine gastroenterologist at Siteman Cancer Center. I had my screening 2 years ago, best nap I've ever taken. It was actually a pretty easy process, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. We hear that from a lot of patients that it was much easier than they expected. Colorectal cancer is so preventable. You know, we estimate that 80% of colorectal cancers could be prevented if people just followed the guidelines for screening, starting at age 45 and be proactive about your health. It's very likely that you can prevent yourself from ever getting colorectal cancer. And it's, like you said, an easy test to do, whether it's colonoscopy or a stool test at home. So easy for you to take action and be proactive and prevent yourself from getting colorectal cancer.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a staff accountant at the height of tax season.
Congrats. Looks like the company owes, $50 in taxes. How about that?
That seems low. Why only 50?
Why do you care so much? It's not your money.
This is your job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. Their max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Dreaming of college but worried about the cost? The Together Foundation is here to help. The Together Foundation is awarding 5 $1,500 scholarships to St. Louis area students who are ready to take the next step toward their future. Applying is simple, but time is limited, as applications will be accepted through March 31st. Learn more or apply at togethercu.org/scholarship. That's togethercu.org/scholarship. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At 6:30, we have clear skies and 34 degrees downtown at the Arch. Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're headed into downtown, that's where you have the biggest backup right now, Debbie. If you're on eastbound 44, delay starting at about Park Avenue. It goes out through to a crash near the Horseshoe Casino, or maybe it's a stall. I couldn't tell, but it was blocking. And then we had that earlier one we had westbound 70 near Madison that still has one of the lanes blocked as you come off the Musial Veterans Bridge. So the bridge itself westbound is backed up almost to the Illinois side now because of that. It's a little busier on northbound 55, the right lanes north of Butler Hill to 270. A little bit slow down between Bayless and Weber. We have a roadwork jam out west, westbound 370, just west of the Mills to 141. Only one lane is open there for roadwork westbound. Other than that, eastbound 370 coming up to the Discovery Bridge looks fine. Eastbound 70 and 64 coming out from the Wentzville split and north 270 coming up from 55. Everything looks good on those runs so far. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today, it's going to be mostly sunny, high of 56 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy and breezy, low of 47. Tomorrow, sunny, little gust of wind, high around 60. Right now, we have clear skies and 34 degrees downtown at the Arch. It's 6:31.
The National Weather Service confirms an EF1 tornado touched down in Morrow Township in Madison County, and an EF1 also hit parts of rural St. Clair County.
Part of rural St. Clair County had significant storm damage, but no injuries. Emergency Management Agency Director Herb Simmons.
The biggest area was the southern part of the county, the Marissa, San Laborie, Lindsborg area. There was a scattered, it wasn't anything, it's a rural area. But, a couple of homes sustained substantial damage and some of the farm buildings and some grain silos.
Between Madison and St. Clair counties, nearly 2,000 are without electricity. Simmons tells KMOX Ameren, Illinois, is making progress, though, in restoration. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Damage being assessed and cleanup underway in Kankakee County, where a tornado caused significant damage and caused injuries last night, but no loss of life. One of 4 tornadoes that hit parts of Illinois and Indiana. WBBM's Mike Krauser reports.
There are some houses and residences that are leveled.
Kankakee County Sheriff Mike Downey says, especially in the village of Aroma Park, where we saw homes that were ripped apart.
And those obviously will be our first priority to make sure that they have housing, that they have what they need. And the community has been awesome in their assistance and offering assistance.
Among homes with varying degrees of damage, large trees were uprooted and snapped. The sheriff says just after the tornado passed, police and fire personnel from numerous agencies started search and rescue efforts.
Yeah, we had people going door to door trying to make sure that people were safe.
The mayor of Kankakee, Chris Curtis, says advanced warning and the time the tornado came through here just after 6 p.m. probably saved lives. People were prepared, he says, and some weren't home from work yet. In Kankakee County, Mike Krauser, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got your Money Minute from Bloomberg coming up. Stay with us here on Total Information AM.
St. Louis is a baseball town, and the Gas House Gang talks Cardinals baseball. Ackerman, Ranji, Nicholas, and Claims bring informed opinions and real insight. Smart baseball talk from guys who truly know the game. And get ready, Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol returns every Tuesday starting March 31st. Passion, knowledge, the best baseball talk in town. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon. We know baseball. KMOX.
Okay, I have some really good news. While we do have the 0% a lot, we do have it on our regular products because you will be unbelievably shocked, especially if you call me and I'll give you the straight up scoop on how much money you can actually save by if you spent $20,000 versus $10,000 on a system. The difference could be as little as, I don't know, let's just say, not to exaggerate, 5 cents. So be careful out there, and always remember your energy savings is based on your house. It is not based on the equipment. So common sense advice and help and guidance. Again, call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest, 314-293-2600. Again, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, that is bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
At 6:35, time now for your Money Report. It's sponsored by Eamon Gaintner and Capriano, Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The International Energy Agency says the conflict in the Middle East is causing unprecedented turmoil in oil markets, hitting 7.5% of global supply. Yesterday, the IEA agreed to release an unprecedented 400 million barrels from emergency reserves to try to calm the market. Crude continues to surge, trading at $92 a barrel. And Wall Street is worried that soaring energy prices will rekindle inflation and weigh on economic growth. Stocks are dropping this morning. S&P futures are down 36 points. Dow futures falling 310. And shares of Papa John's soared in trading yesterday, jumping 19%. A Qatari-based investment fund is said to be interested in buying the pizza chain, according to the Wall Street Journal. Papa John's is reviewing a bid from Earth Capital. The pizza industry has become increasingly competitive, with larger chain Domino's gaining ground on its low-price options. No comment from Papa John's. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Experience music, magic, story, and wonder with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in Scheherazade, Magic and Myth. Feel bold energy and haunting beauty as violinist Leila Josefowitz performs Alban Berg's deeply moving Violin Concerto. Then be swept away by Scheherazade. Saturday, March 14th and Sunday, March 15th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Every spring brings promises, and every spring delivers surprises. This year, the Cardinals are writing a new story, and there'll be plenty of surprises. Tom Ackerman is in Jupiter, Florida, with inside access to Camp Cardinals.
Presented by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And Happy Roof. We always create happy endings.
From breakout performances to roster revelations, get reports throughout the day on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It is 6:39, traffic and weather on the way. A new survey finds 1/3 of Americans are cutting spending or borrowing money to pay for their health care. CBS reports 15% of people surveyed by the West Health Gallup Center on Healthcare in America said they had borrowed money in the past year to pay for medical expenses. 11% said they had skipped a meal, and more than a quarter had put off a surgery or postponed a vacation. Even families with incomes well above $200,000 said they are putting off having a child or buying a home or retiring.
The struggle getting heavy and harder to manage for the hundreds of TSA workers who continue to work without a paycheck as the partial government shutdown drags on. The nonprofit group VEAP held a food drive for the nearly 500 workers at the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport. Union leader Neil Gossman says food donations are helpful, but that many TSA agents need help with gas. He says the Metropolitan Airports Commission has been accepting gas cards as the shutdown drags on.
Let's take a look at traffic and weather, and we'll start here with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our jam downtown, Debbie, with this latest crash. I can't see it, but MoDOT says it's blocking the left lane. It's eastbound 44 right near the Horseshoe Casino, so just past the north leg of the arch. Traffic's jammed back almost to 55 on eastbound 44 as you come into downtown. And the westbound Musial Veterans Bridge is still backed up approaching the bridge. So it's, as you round the bend there, getting on the bridge, it's heavy all the way across the river. We had a crash just at the Missouri end there on westbound 70 near Madison earlier. So it looks like there's still some restrictions causing you the delays at that point as well. Westbound 64 is also a little slow, or we're talking about the Illinois side through 159. Westbound 370 west of the Mills to 141's backed up. Only one lane open for road work there. Eastbound Highway 70 kind of slower City into 270. If you're on North 270, there's some slow traffic north of Big Bend through Doherty Ferry around Clayton Road. Northbound 55, the right lanes at Butler Hill, and all lanes from Bayless up through Loughborough look pretty heavy right now as well. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Time now for our check of the weather forecast with meteorologist Joe Lundberg. And Joe, it's going to get a little bit chilly and maybe some snow in the forecast. Is that possible?
Yes, it's all possible, Brian. Unfortunately, there's a big front that will come through the area Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, and the air mass behind it is going to be brutally cold for this time of the year. And yes, snow is a possibility for Sunday night and first thing Monday. Today, it's going to be a nice day with sunshine on the cool side, or high 56, partly cloudy, breezy. It's not all that cold tonight, about 47. Partly sunny, quite breezy tomorrow with temperatures around 60. We go into the weekend, not bad on Saturday. Partly sunny, we get up to 63. And this next storm system moves by to our north and west on Sunday. It'll become windy with a couple of showers and maybe a thunderstorm. We'll be in the low to mid 60s, but as that front comes through, temperature will quickly drop into the 40s later today and then drop into the 20s Sunday night. And yes, there is a chance for some snow, probably some flurries early Monday. Otherwise, windy and cold, clouds break for some sun. Temperatures barely getting to about 32 or 33. Right now across the area, pretty quiet. 30 at St. Peter's, 33 in Florissant, clear 36 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, thanks, Joe. The news continues at 6:42. A Costco shopper is suing the retailer to get his tariff costs back.
The lawsuit filed in Illinois is seeking class action status. It claims Costco owes its customers refunds now that the Supreme Court has ruled President Trump's tariffs were illegal.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing.
Costco CEO has said if the company does receive tariff refunds from the federal government, it will return them to customers through lower prices. The Court of International Trade has said the government should refund $166 billion in tariff revenue. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Illinois pharmacists could soon be required to tell patients when their prescriptions are recalled. A bill advancing in the state Senate would require pharmacists to notify patients of any medication recall from the point of sale. Sponsor, State Senator Doris Turner of Springfield, Illinois, says too many people finding out about recalls on their own, and that needs to change.
Women who take the drug mifepristone for use in an abortion experience a serious adverse health event.
That's Senator Josh Hawley, who had several women telling their negative outcome stories about taking mifepristone. Hawley used the time to call on Congress to take action against drug companies that manufacture the so-called medical abortion pill. Denko Laboratories makes the brand name Mifeprex. Gen Biopro makes a generic, as does Avita Solutions.
What it means in practice is internal infections, sepsis, hemorrhaging, a trip to the emergency room, a life-threatening condition. In 11% of cases, that's more than 1 in 10 women.
Hawley says since 2000, the number of women who have taken mifepristone for use in abortion is tops 7.5. He says the pill now accounts for 70% of abortions conducted in the U.S.
New research from Washington University shows GLP-1s could help fight addiction to drugs and alcohol. So why are they not recommending people use the drug to fight addictions?
The research found GLP-1s prevent cravings to drugs and alcohol, similar to how they fight food cravings. However, Dr. Ziad Al-Ali says they have not looked into what happens after people get off GLP-1s.
Some of them actually regain weight. That appetite comes back, that food noise comes back, and then they regain weight. And will the same thing also happen with craving? And we don't really know that at this point.
The study took place over 3 years with 600,000 individuals observed. It found those taking GLP-1s were less likely to develop new addictions, and those already addicted to drugs and alcohol were less likely to overdose, less likely to be hospitalized, and less likely to have a suicidal attempt. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
I'm Tom Ackerman with the Cardinals in Jupiter, Florida. The Cardinals are taking on the Mets here today. Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium at 12:05. Michael McGreevy against Sean Manaea. We'll have it for you on KMOX. Dustin May, 3 2/3 innings yesterday. 1 run allowed on 2 hits, walked 2 and struck out 3. And the lone RBI in the 3-1 loss to the Nationals came from Nolan Gorman.
0-2. Driven into right, a base hit. Burleson scores. Walker slams on the brakes after a long turnaround second, and Nolan Gorman with some loud contact ties the game at 1.
Stephen Carey with the call on Cardinals.com. Cardinals only run there on an RBI single by Gorman in the 6th inning. Cardinals lost the game 3-1. Speaking of Gorman, he not only needs to improve his offense, but this is some big shoes to fill. I mean, you're playing third base in place of Nolan Arenado, one of the best to ever do it. Manager Ollie Marmol on what he's looking for there.
I would say agility, mobility, and consistency, right? Like his ability to move around well and be consistent with how he's moving around and finishing plays, the routine play, and at times beyond that. So, yeah, it's a matter of him continuing to put in the work and be diligent with that in order to have consistent production there.
And Cardinals will be taking on the Mets today at 12:05 on KMOX. At the World Baseball Classic last night, what an incredible scene down in Miami. The Dominican Republic beat Venezuela 7-5. Dave Glover and Michael Kelly were with me down there. We'll have plenty of stories from that at Lone Depot Park. The DR will play Korea next. Venezuela gets Japan in the quarterfinals. The United States did make it to the quarterfinals when Italy beat Mexico 9-1. They'll play Canada next in Houston. Robbie Avila will play the winner of Fordham and GW tomorrow in the first game of the A-10 tournament for the Billikens. They're the number 1 seed. They advance to the quarterfinals. The plantar fasciitis is something that has been nagging him. We'll see how much he can play, but we know this for sure. He's the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year, announced yesterday by the conference. 12.6 points per game, 4.1 assists per game for Robbie. Missouri State beat Liberty 77-69. Number one seed in the Conference USA tournament goes down. So Conzo Martin and the Bears are still alive. They'll play in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Mizzou and Kentucky in the SEC tournament today at 11:30. Illinois plays tomorrow at 1:30. Blues at 6 tonight at Carolina. I'm Tom Ackerman in Jupiter on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's tell you about something else that's a lot of fun, shopping for a home. What, you don't think that's fun? It's a lot more fun when you go to McKelvey Homes, McKelveyhomes.com. I assure you of that. President Jim Brennan will make it fun for you, because when you go to McKelveyhomes.com, you can find so many different areas of St. Louis. That's the fun part. The homes that they have built are just beautiful and located in beautiful areas that I think you'll really love. Cottleville, Wildwood, O'Fallon, Missouri, not to mention Afton, all of these areas with walking trails to parks and eating establishments. It's just a really neat layout for all of these places. And you can save some money because they were founded in 1898. McKelvey Homes does the 1898 sale, $18,980 off their to-be-built homes. They have $10,000 or $15,000 free cash to close on all to-be-built homes, and special financing rates as low as 4.99%. It's McKelvey Homes. Doesn't get any better than that. McKelveyhomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 6:51. Let's get a check with Roger Brandon, the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center. How are things looking downtown, Roger?
Well, they're still busy downtown. They're looking a little bit better on 44, though, Brian. If you're eastbound on 44, you've got heavy traffic from Park up past the Poplar. It does jam through the Arch Grounds due to that earlier crash we had near the Horseshoe Casino. The Musial Veterans Bridge is jammed back to the Illinois side. Looks like we have a new crash on northbound 270 just before Big Bend. It's jammed at 44. Northbound 55, we have a serious crash with injuries. Just south of 141, traffic's jammed about midway back to Richardson. Multiple lanes blocked there. Then you're backed up from the Union Road overpass up to Weber, solid and slow up toward Loughborough, where they had a crash on the shoulder. By the way, North 270 still slow north of Manchester up to 64. Eastbound 70, we have a crash before 270 with lane blockage. Traffic starts to slow approaching 5th Street, jams on the Blanchette Bridge. And then we have that roadwork backup on westbound 370 that's bumper to bumper just west of the Mills out to 141. Eastbound 70 is also a little busy east of K to TR Hughes. And on the Illinois side, we still look good westbound 64 through 159. Next update at 6:58 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, the next couple of days should be pretty nice. Mostly sunny and 56 today, partly sunny and windy tomorrow, high around 60. Saturday, sun and clouds, breezy, high 63, but then storms moving through Sunday. That'll drop the temps from about 66 into the 40s and maybe some snow on Sunday night. Maybe. Right now, it's 34 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 6:52.
There's about 7,000 people in St. Charles County living with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
And many of those people and their families helped in some way by the Development Disabilities Resources Board of St. Charles County.
We fund almost 30 different agencies to provide a variety of services. And we try to make sure that there's services available across all life stages, early childhood to retirement. We try to use local tax dollars to meet local needs. and fill in gaps where other funding sources can't fill.
That's Denise Cross. They're funded through the property tax. On the April ballot is Prop RT, which would limit local property tax funding in the county and could cut DDRB's funding by $4 million. You can hear more on this coming up at 8:11.
The post office in Edwin Hubbell's Missouri hometown could soon bear his name. Senator Eric Schmidt introducing a bill to rename the Marshfield Post Office after the astronomer born there who proved the existence of other galaxies and that the universe is expanding. The Hubble telescope was named in his honor.
The BBB giving Buc-ee's a failing grade.
If you've made a Buc-ee's run on a road trip, you might want to take a closer look at your bank statement. The Better Business Bureau is giving F ratings to 33 of the chain's locations over 88 unresolved complaints, including customers charged for gas that was never pumped and billing errors of more than $60 over the actual purchase price. The BBB also says that Buc-ee's has flat out refused to engage with the complaints process. A handful of locations did escape the failing grade. 2 earned A ratings, 2 received C minuses. Missouri's only Buc-ee's in Springfield opened in late 2023. The chain did not respond to multiple outlets' requests for comment. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Celebrity birthdays at 6:54. Actor singer Liza Minnelli is 80 today. Singer songwriter James Taylor 78. Singer Marlon Jackson from the Jackson 5 is 69, and actor Aaron Eckhart from The Dark Knight, he is 58.
Local celebrity birthdays sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Cheryl Eggert from the retiree group, James Patrick Horn, happy 5th from Nana and Grandpa. Annie Purcell, happy birthday from all your friends at SJHI. Also, we've got Allison Hawk celebrating today, Charlotte Tritley, Jan Clamoris, Carol Bova, Karen Hildebrand from the Game Night Girls, and Tony Lazar from your friends.
This is the best birthday ever.
They say good things come to those who wait, unless you bite into a Hot Pocket right out of the microwave. Waiting to see a financial advisor about retirement could also bring some pain. The pain of watching your money evaporate in a stock market decline. The pain of trying to figure out Social Security and Medicare on your own. Or the pain of writing huge checks to the IRS that you really didn't have to. At the All Financial Group, they believe the more you know, the better decisions they can make. They offer a complimentary retirement assessment. Find out where you are, how you're doing, and if there's a way to improve your retirement outcome. Don't wait. Call the All Financial Group today, 636-230-8824, or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com and set up your complimentary retirement review.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Bernie Miklas here for Saliga Heating and Cooling. Our family's called the Saliga family for 18 years, and we are grateful for Saliga's honesty, knowledge, and professionalism. They're the best. For more info, visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Come on. No! It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up. I can't. See that Hyundai Santa Fe? Yeah. I only paid. Finish up on your own. I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry. Offer ends March 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
6:58. Let's get a check of the roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've still got issues out there. In fact, more have popped up. The last report had new troubles. We'll start with downtown. That's where the original ones were, though, Brian. And we still have this backup eastbound 44. I'll call it east of Park out to the Musial Veterans Bridge, and then the Musial Veterans Bridge westbound is jammed. West of Packers Avenue, just as you round the bend to get on the bridge itself. So it's about a mile backup coming out of Illinois on the run on westbound Highway 70 as well. And then the other problems we have are northbound 55. A single vehicle crash, but it is in the traffic lane south of 141, so traffic's a solid jam back at Richardson Road. After that, you've got a backup from the Union Road overpass all the way up to River de Pere. There was a crash at Carondelet that they had moved to the shoulder. A crash northbound 270 just before Big Bend. They're working to clear. Traffic's jammed about midway between Gravelway and 44 right now on northbound 270. At least the right lane, it might be the right two lanes. It's hard for me to tell through the traffic, but they're blocked with a crash eastbound 70 east of 141. Traffic's backed up at 94, and we have westbound roadwork jam on 370 from the Middles to 141. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Thursday, March 12th. I'm Debbie Monterrey. The state-appointed board taking control of the St. Louis City Police Department is asking for millions more for repairs to their buildings. Are they spending the money they currently receive? We'll get answers in the next hour.
Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
I'm Sean Malone. New research from Washington University has found a new benefit for GLP-1s. I've got that story coming up.
I'm Tom Ackerman with the Cardinals in Jupiter. We'll get you a spring training report at 7:15, plus my trip to Miami to see the Dominican Republic and Albert Pujols. That's in 15 minutes.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Plenty of sunshine today and nice this afternoon, the high 56.
CBS News at the top of the hour at the tone. It's 7 o'clock.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. On day 13 of war, U.S. and Israeli strikes are hitting targets across Iran. Israel is intensifying its campaign against Hezbollah in Lebanon. Correspondent Charlie D'Agata reports from Tel Aviv.
Overnight, Iran focused its attacks on the lifeblood of the region, small boats packed with explosives slamming into oil tankers off the coast of Iraq. In Bahrain, fuel depots burned. The Bahraini government warning people to stay indoors to avoid inhaling poisonous fumes.
President Trump says the U.S. is not ready to bow out.
We don't want to leave early, do we? We got to finish the job, right?
The war sent crude prices to the $100 a barrel mark today. The International Energy Agency says the conflicts caused the largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
The tankers are still being attacked in the Strait of Hormuz. 400 million barrels feels like a lot, but when you've got 15 million going through the Strait of Hormuz every single day that can't get there, it's only about 25 days of supply of oil. So it helps, but it really doesn't solve the problem.
The national average for gas prices in the U.S. is up to $3.60 a gallon. In California, it's reached $5.37. California officials are downplaying an FBI bulletin warning of a possible surprise Iranian drone attack. Correspondent Nicole Skanga.
Multiple law enforcement and intelligence sources tell CBS News that while the tips circulated by federal officials raised concerns, there is no known credible threat.
A Costco shopper is suing to get his tariff costs back.
The lawsuit filed in Illinois is seeking class action status. It claims Costco owes its customers refunds now that the Supreme Court has ruled President Trump's tariffs were illegal.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing.
Costco CEO has said if the company does receive tariff refunds from the federal government, it will return them to customers through lower prices. The Court of International Trade has said the government should refund $166 billion in tariff revenue. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
So much for the celebrity chef who brought his fancy food all the way from Denmark to Los Angeles.
We're coming to cook, to create, to see what's possible.
Rene Redzepi is stepping down from Noma after a New York Times report detailed past allegations of verbal and physical abuse in his kitchen. Days later, top sponsors backed out of his LA pop-up. It opened at an estate in Silver Lake yesterday anyway. Dow futures are down 240. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Morning.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
Okay, class, let's begin.
Psst, love your boots. I just sold a pair like that on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took like 2 seconds to list and they sold almost immediately. I've been selling everything lately. Some chunky boots, a faux fur coat I never wore, and a vintage chair that was more of an expensive clothing rack.
You know, I actually bought these on eBay. Wait, are you Kitty Sell Stuff from Brooklyn?
Okay, quiet, please.
Find what you love, sell what you don't. eBay, things people love.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
At 7:04, we have clear skies and 33 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Thursday, March 12th. Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. The National Weather Service has confirmed it was 4 tornadoes that touched down in the Metro East yesterday. 3 EF1s hit Grafton, Morrow, and parts of St. Clair County. An EF0 with 85-mile-per-hour winds moved through Williamson near I-55.
No injuries reported following this week's storms in the Metro East.
Parts of rural St. Clair County, Marissa, Lensburg, and St. Labori have extensive damage. KMOX talk with Herb Simmons, the Emergency Management Director.
You know, we've been following this storm. Our last update we had with the National Weather Service was yesterday at 1 o'clock because, you know, they do a good job of working with the EMA departments and keeping us informed of these potential storms. And so we've been watching this system come in. Like I said, it just barely speeded our county, just clipped the southern part of it.
Simmons says the warning sirens function properly. That system is about a couple of years old, but Simmons cautions people those sirens are meant as outdoor warnings, not inside. He recommends having a backup plan, such as a weather radio or several apps that are available for mobile phones. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
The American Red Cross of Illinois deploying volunteers to help residents impacted by the tornadoes in Kankakee County.
Red Cross volunteers have been preparing to help Kankakee County residents for days.
Our teams were working day and night to prepare everyone to be able to get to these communities that have been affected by the storms. And so the preparation has been going on for days, meeting after meeting.
Annabelle Monhe with the American Red Cross of Illinois is assisting with the organization's shelter set up at Kankakee Community College. She says people can come in for food, shelter, or just to hang out or receive support from volunteers.
For example, we had one woman walk in and, you know, her house was fine, her car was damaged, but they don't have power. So she came in with her son and they're just charging their phone, kind of hanging out while their family gets a hold of them and, you know, they'll get the help that they need. But the shelter is open for anyone who needs it.
She says the Red Cross also has teams out assessing storm damage, ready to help those who may have been displaced.
That is Carolina Garibay reporting.
Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe has ordered flags to fly at half-staff today in honor of a Butler County firefighter killed in the line of duty. Shift Commander Jackson Warren died March 6th when the brush truck he was driving to a grass fire crashed and overturned. Flags will be lowered at government buildings in Butler County, firehouses statewide, and the Firefighters Memorial in Kingdom City.
From the KMOX business desk, Plaza Motors has been sold. The 6 local luxury brand dealerships were sold by Atlanta-based Asbury Automotive to Mile One Auto Group of Maryland. The sale closed February 23rd. Asbury says the sale of Plaza was part of a larger portfolio optimization. According to the Business Journal, Plaza is the St. Louis area's 12th largest auto dealership.
KMOX News Time, 7:07.
There's nothing like hearing your friends and family clearly. A grandchild's laugh, conversation with a friend, or the punchline to a joke. Charlie Brennan here with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler and her team understand that hearing is personal. That's why you'll always work with certified audiologists like Adam Voss, Bailey Campbell, and Dr. Colleen Bosler.
That's right, Charlie. We offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so our recommendations are based on what fits you best. With us, we follow best practice fitting methods to ensure your hearing aids are programmed precisely for your unique hearing needs. But our care doesn't end when you walk out the door. As we know, hearing aids require continued support, adjustments, and maintenance, and we offer these services at no extra cost to you. Because better hearing isn't just about devices, it's about reconnecting to the moments that matter most. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
The smartest way to spend your money is not to. Straight Talk offers free 5G phones for new and existing customers on Verizon's 5G network. So the refund money I don't spend on that free phone is the refund money I get to keep for my family. Smart.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
7:09. Let's go to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center and get the very latest from Roger Brand. What's going on, Roger?
Well, crashes and backups because of them, Debbie. It's been sort of a crazy morning in the last 20 minutes or so. Now, we'll start with the good news downtown. They did clear the crash that was eastbound 44 before the Amusal Veterans Bridge. Traffic still backed up from the Poplar past the Amusal Veterans because of the original crash we had in Madison, and that jammed the Amusal Veterans Bridge back to the Illinois bank of the river, and it's still at that point. So there's still jam traffic, but again, it looks like the incidents have been reportedly been cleared by, according to MoDOT. Eastbound 70, they're still working that crash east of our city. Right lanes blocked. Traffic eastbound 70 is a solid jam at 94 to that one. It's road work on westbound 370. It's down to one lane at 141. Traffic's jammed approaching the mills. Got a crash on North 270 near Big Bend, just before Big Bend. Traffic is slow at Gravel and jam before you get to 44 because of that one. A couple of them on 55. An injury crash with lane blockage northbound 55 just south of 141. Traffic's jammed back past Richardson Road now. And then northbound 55 is backed up from Bayless up to River to Pear. There was a crash that they cleared to the shoulder right at River to Pear on northbound 55 at that point. Westbound 64 on the Illinois side is a little busy coming to 159 in O'Fallon, and eastbound 64 out west is just a little slow from Prospect toward Lake St. Louis Boulevard, but it picks up the pace before you get there. Northbound 55, I'm also seeing a slowdown at McNutt. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, mostly sunny today, high 56, partly cloudy, breezy tonight, low 47. Partly sunny tomorrow with a gusty wind and a high near 60. For Saturday, times of sun and clouds becoming breezy in the afternoon, high 63. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Right now, we have clear skies and 33 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:11. St. Louis City Budget Director Paul Payne says the state-appointed Board of Police Commissioners budget isn't fully thought out. Payne's comments come after commissioners sued placeholders to ask for millions more in the budget. The placeholder is $25 million to make needed repairs to the buildings the department will soon assume control of. Board President Chris Saraceno said yesterday to reporters, he says the department has only spent a little more than half of the money they already have for facilities maintenance.
Facility maintenance this year, $5.5 million. And of that, I think facilities has spent $3.2.
Payne says the city's Board of Public Service handles major renovations and cannot get into all of the many projects citywide.
St. Charles County is expanding its search to protect more areas and events with the addition of the Real-Time Information Crime Center, or RTIC. Mike Nunnery is operations manager.
We recognize that, as you mentioned, St. Louis City has one. St. Louis County has the RIC. And we felt that we needed something out here that focused on the St. Charles County area. We understand that those two counties, along with St. Louis City, are completely different when it comes to, calls for service for law enforcement.
Nunnery adds the calls tend to be more severe in St. Louis City and St. Louis County. He's not saying it doesn't happen in St. Charles County, just not as often.
There are about 7,000 people in St. Charles County living with intellectual or developmental disabilities, which also impact their families. Denise Cross with the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board of St. Charles County says they are funded through a property tax levy that was passed almost 50 years ago. She brings it up because of Prop RT that's on the April ballot in St. Charles County. It would, if passed, limit local property tax funding, resulting in an estimated $4 million cut to the DDRB.
That our revenues would be frozen. Right now, we have a mechanism that limits the growth of our revenues, so already in place called the Hancock Amendment. This would freeze that even more. There's just no way that we'd be able to keep up, leading to some really difficult choices in the future.
Cross says in 2025, they invested more than $14 million in services to support people with disabilities through more than 30 St. Charles County agency partners. You can hear more on this topic coming up at 8:11.
Up for a vote today, an additional sales tax at Energizer Park. The St. Louis Port Authority considering a 1% tax that would reimburse the stadium developer for groundwater contamination costs it encountered during construction of Energizer Park. The contamination likely due to abandoned underground fuel tanks from long ago. However, the developer had to install a system to divert that groundwater away from the stadium for treatment before it could be discharged into the sewer system. According to the Business Journal, a public hearing on the tax increase will be scheduled.
The more food choices you have, the better chance you're an overeater. I'm Cooper Lawrence, health and wellness expert, and this is all well and good. Is variety the spice of life or the reason you go back for thirds? Researchers at Penn State put that question to the test with a virtual reality buffet. Volunteers chose meals from buffets offering 9 to 27 foods. The more options people saw, the more they piled on, jumping from about 850 calories to nearly 1,500. This really explains cultures where food is in abundance and why you may eat more while on vacation. One bright spot in the study, highly conscientious folks showed more restraint. The takeaway, our food environment packed with endless choices may quietly nudge us to overeat, especially when everything looks so delicious. I'm Cooper Lawrence, and this is all well and good.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And by Happy Roof, we always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Tom Ackerman with you in Jupiter. The Cardinals lost to the Nationals yesterday 3-1 in West Palm Beach, Florida. It's another day for J.J. Weatherholt to play the position of second base. He held his ground very well, continues to improve in that area. Yes, there is actually something that J.J. Weatherholt needs to improve on. He's an excellent hitter. He has a .480 on-base percentage. He hits with power. He can do pretty much anything for this team, including hit leadoff if you need him, and that could very well be where he ends up at the start of the season. But his defense continues to show improvement, according to manager Ollie Marmol.
Credit goes to him. He's showing the improvements that he's made in the offseason. And he's worked at it like even the backhand and things that he's been locked in on while getting to camp. And we're starting to see some small improvements there as well.
J.J. Weatherholt, the Cardinals' first-round pick in 2024, 7th overall in Major League Baseball, and the Cardinals' #1 prospect, just continuing to sparkle down here in Jupiter. The Cardinals play the Mets today. It's a 12:05 start here at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. Michael McGreevy makes the start against Sean Manaea. What a scene last night. We were there in Miami to watch Albert Pujols and the Dominican Republic. The real star, the fans, they flooded the concourse. They flooded the plaza outside Lone Depot Park, taking in a concert, parading through the concourse before this game even started. And did they ever have some fun when Juan Soto did this in the first inning for the Dominican Republic? A 2-run shot for Soto. You could feel the stadium shaking underneath your feet as the fans erupted on the Soto home run. The Dominican Republic, managed by Albert Pujols, goes on to beat Venezuela 7-5, and they move into the quarterfinals with a matchup with Korea on Sunday. Meanwhile, on Friday, I should say, the United States also gets to the quarterfinals because Italy beat Mexico 9-1. So Italy and the U.S. move on into the quarterfinals. The USA will play Canada. Venezuela also gets in, but they have to play a very good team from Japan. Robbie Avila is the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year. The SLU center, who is dealing with plantar fasciitis, moving into tomorrow morning's game in the quarterfinals of the A10, has dealt with a lot so far, but he did go through a terrific season, averaging just about 2 3-pointers a game and 12.6 points per game. Missouri State with an upset win last night in the CUSA tournament, 77-69 over the number 1 seed Liberty. The Bears move on to the quarterfinals. Mizzou and Kentucky in the SEC tournament today at 11:30. Blues play at Carolina tonight at 6. In Jupiter, I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
The legendary Fast Eddie of Fast Eddie's Bon Air and Cardinals Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen.
Hey, it's that time of year again, man. It's starting to warm up. And you know the sun's getting a little brighter. I can hear the crack of the bat.
Yeah, the true pros are doing just a little bit of stretching here and there, getting rid of those winter kinks, getting ready for those days that really count, Eddie. I'm talking about the ones you'll always remember at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Boy, now you got that right. It is all they can do to get ready for the lineup of the delicious eats, man. It's a half-pound Fat Eddie burger. Man, it's a hot chick on a stick, that big elwood on a stick, and you know the succulent peel and eat shrimp are sitting over there on deck.
You do know I have to stretch out a little bit before I start hitting that dance floor, listening to that live music 7 days a week on that huge outdoor patio.
Well, it's like any other training, man. You gotta warm up to get that party face on. It's really difficult out there to have that much fun on that warm, toasty patio. You know, like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, it's Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
7:21 on Total Information AM. Brian Feldman alongside Debbie Monterrey. Let's get a check of the roadways with Roger Brain and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're still got a couple of jams, Brian, on northbound 55. They're still working this crash. Northbound 55 south of 141. Traffic's jammed all well south of Richardson. Not quite midway back to Imperial, but it's a pretty big backup. Couple of miles, 3 miles maybe, north 55 bumper to bumper. And then you have the south jam again from Bayless up to River to Pear where they've got a crash. They just cleared the crash north 270 before Big Bend. Traffic is slow south of Gravois, and it jams both sides of 44. It opens up, like I said, before you get to Big Bend. If you're on southbound 61, Wentzel Parkway to 64, the Boulevard, a little heavy. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, slow. Looks like we have an incident eastbound 364 before Bennington. It's backed up to about the Amiot overpass. Eastbound 70, they're still in that right lane east of 141 with a crash. It's a solid jam approaching 94. Eastbound 370 delays approaching 94 to the Discovery Bridge. And westbound from the Mills to 141, those are both roadwork backups. And downtown eastbound 44, still heavy from Park just past Poplar. Looks like there's a new incident. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Company of St. Louis.
Today, mostly sunny, 56, partly sunny and windy tomorrow, high near 60, 63 with sun and clouds on Saturday. And then we got storms rolling through on Sunday. That'll make the temps drop from the mid 60s to the 40s and maybe some snow Sunday night. Right now, it's 33 with clear skies downtown.
The news continues at 7:22. Missouri starting to map out its next energy plan, reviewing everything from wind and solar to nuclear power. But where do lithium battery recycling storage sites fit into Missouri's long-term energy outlook? State Department of Natural Resources Director Kurt Schaefert says there are some facilities in Missouri that recycle lithium batteries.
Lithium batteries can be very volatile. They did cause a major fire at a storage facility down by Fredericktown. The bigger question of energy storage facilities, that is something that we're discussing. It's not something that really has taken off in terms of the available technology yet.
In 2025, Missouri relied on generation from other states for over 15% of its electricity needs.
Dozens of protesters gathered outside the Missouri Supreme Court on Tuesday to rally against lawmakers' efforts to redraw Missouri's congressional map.
Following President Donald Trump's direction, Governor Mike Kehoe called Missouri's legislature into a special session in September to redraw the state's congressional districts. Since then, members of progressive groups such as People Not Politicians have been remonstrating against that effort. Protester Catherine Kaiser, who collects signatures for People Not Politicians, says the issue has inspired her to care more about Missouri politics.
I am Missouri, and I have a right to stand up for what Missouri should be, and that Missouri is the people.
Opponents of the redistricting say Kehoe's move was unconstitutional. According to them, Missouri's constitution bars the legislature from redrawing maps without new census data. I'm Alex Gribb, Missouri News Network.
A House bill backed by popular Republican demand this session, one that would toughen Missouri's initiative petition requirements.
During a committee hearing, Kay Park with the League of Women Voters and Savannah Representative Dean Van Choyak had this exchange over whether petition circulators should be paid.
So you're fine with some amount of state coming in here and circulating petitions and being paid by the signature to do so?
Yes, I would be.
I find that pretty disgusting. Thank you.
A Missouri House committee could soon vote on St. Clair Representative Brad Branderman's bill, which would tighten signature rules, make petition formatting stricter, and increase fraud penalties. Beth Coughlin, KMOX News.
During a committee hearing, Kay Park with the League of Women Voters and Savannah Representative Dean Van Choyak had this exchange over whether petition circulators should be paid.
So you're fine with some amount of state coming in here and circulating petitions and being paid by the signature to do so?
Yes, I would be.
I find that pretty disgusting. Thank you.
A Missouri House committee could soon vote on St. Clair Representative Brad Banderman's bill, which would tighten signature rules, make petition formatting stricter, and increase fraud penalties.
Ownership of the Dome and Convention Center could be consolidated under one board if a bill is passed by the Missouri Senate and signed by the governor. CEO of Explore St. Louis, Brad Dean, says one board means one vision for both facilities and thus a better experience.
And so improving the ability to serve the guests and modernizing the facilities will help attract more events and better events, and it'll deliver a better experience to those who are coming to the Dome and the Convention Center today.
The facilities currently face a combined $100 million shortfall for renovations. When asked about the financial future of the facilities, Dean says the streamlined vision will allow them to better utilize the tax revenue generated by St. Louis City and County hotels.
2,000. The number of women who have taken this drug for use in an abortion tops 7.5 million.
That's Senator Josh Hawley, a staunch pro-life supporter, citing statistics for the mifepristone abortion drug. The senior senator from Missouri had several women talk about terrible outcomes they had after taking the pill.
This is a drug that is incredibly widespread and is inherently dangerous. It is also inherently prone to abuse. Just in the last year or so, about a dozen men have been charged criminally in different jurisdictions around the country with using mifepristone to force on girlfriends or people they hardly know abortions they didn't want.
Hawley maintains men have forced mifepristone on women unbeknownst to them while they slept or by lacing food or drink. Hawley's calling on Congress to step in and take action against the 3 drug companies that manufacture mifepristone.
And also in the news today, Washington University releasing new research that found GLP-1s help reduce the risk of addiction. Dr. Ziad Al-Ali says after patients of his taking GLP-1s began to report having an easier time quitting drinking and smoking, they studied more than 600,000 patients.
In people who start a GLP-1 drug, they had less risk of developing new onset addiction in the first place.
Their research also found those taking The weight loss and diabetes drug saw reduced overdoses, hospitalizations, and suicide attempts while on the medication. He says, however, they are not yet recommending use of GLP-1s due to lack of research when people get off of them.
We don't really know exactly what happens when people stop. And until we know the full story, we don't feel, comfortable recommending it, for the treatment of addiction.
He says more research is needed before GLP-1s can be recommended to fight addiction.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate. Evans is a proven fighter and the only candidate for U.S. Senate with guts and know-how to get the job done. As an attorney, she took on China and corporate criminals. Jeannie Evans won billions for working families. As senator, Evans will fight and win for you. She'll work to cut taxes and lower the cost of living. Evans believes that keeping Illinois safe will take more than just wishful thinking. It takes courage, and Jeannie Evans has the record to prove it. Evans will always be tough on crime. She'll hold China accountable for trafficking fentanyl and stealing our personal data. Jeannie Evans puts America first. A proven fighter. Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate.
I'm Jeannie Evans, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Jeannie for Illinois.
A lot of people are getting their air conditioners tuned up and ready to go for the summer, and we're getting a lot of calls of people saying they want a second opinion, to have us come out and requesting us to come out there and take a look at their air conditioners. They've been told that they need a new one, and the repair is quite costly, and it might be best for them to replace the air conditioner and then repair it. If you're in that situation, please give me a call, because there is truly some opportunities here for you that we could save you lots of money, because I'm sure you're going to be shocked. We have the equipment that still works best for you with your budget. It's pretty much the best. Is what I would put in my home, is what I would recommend. Give me a call. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Or the online thing, and that is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs, attorneys, and for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
At 7:31, we have clear skies and 33 degrees downtown at the Arch. Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and this is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're traveling on Highway 370, you have roadwork jams both directions. Westbound, it's from the Mills out to 141. Eastbound, it's Elm Newtown up to the Discovery Bridge. So lane restrictions, the westbound stuff's temporary, but they are working both ways there. Eastbound Highway 70, TR Hughes is a little slow. It's still heavy from 94 in pockets in through to 270 from the earlier crash. So I mentioned that crash eastbound 364 before Bennington. Right lanes are blocked. Traffic's jammed back through 141 and actually starts to slow at the Veterans Bridge. Eastbound 64, you've got slow traffic coming off of 61 up to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's slow approaching Clarkson to Timberlake. 270 up through Spady, and then at the Interbelt. North 270, they cleared that crash. We had north of 44, but Tusson Ferry through Gravel, and then 44 up to Manchester. Clayton Road to Ladue, those are all slowdowns. Northbound 55, you still have this jam. It's getting better. They cleared the crash south of 141, but it's still backed up. I think we'll call it north of Imperial to north of Richardson, a pretty solid bumper-to-bumper backup. And again, you've got heavy traffic from Bayless up the river to Pear, stop and go, where we had a crash on the shoulder. 44, we had an incident at the Poplar. It's jammed at 55. Westbound Mutual Bridge traffic still backed up, and westbound 64 west of 50 to 159, you've got a roadwork backup. And also westbound 5570, an incident just past Keebler causing a bit of a delay. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Your weather forecast looks pretty good for the next couple days. Mostly sunny today, high of 56 degrees. It'll be a little cloudy, some breeze tonight, low of 47. Tomorrow, sunny with a gusty wind, high around 60. Saturday, times of sun and clouds, high of 63. And then how about this Sunday? Cloudy, couple showers, maybe a thunderstorm, high between 62 and 66. But at night, temperatures could drop into the 40s. Snow is possible. Right now, we have clear skies and 33 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The National Weather Service confirming that 4 tornadoes touched down in the Metro East. 3 EF1s hit Grafton, Morrow, and parts of St. Clair County. And EF0 with 85-mile-per-hour winds moved through Williamson near I-55. Damage was reported across the Metro East. One person was injured when a roof was ripped off.
A former Florissant police officer faces prison sentence after searching the phones of 20 women for nude photos. The FBI St. Louis division says 31-year-old Julian Alcala illegally searched the women's phones after pulling them over on duty. He told the victims he needed to take their phones back to his patrol car to confirm their insurance or vehicle registration, and then took photos of the women's pictures. Alcala sentenced to 2 years in prison.
2 people have been charged in connection with a fatal shooting in Alton. 42-year-old John Anthony was shot at Oakwood Estates early Tuesday morning, according to our partners at Fox 2. Anthony had already been shot when officers arrived on the scene, and he died a short time later at an area hospital. 19-year-old Isaiah Pearson charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, and 20-year-old Janiyah Hardiman is charged with obstructing justice. Officers say she lied to investigators and said she didn't know Pearson.
A utility company disagrees with findings of E. coli in Cahokia Heights water. Our partners at Fox 2 report the dispute comes after multiple homes' kitchen tap water tested positive during recent resident-led testing in Cahokia Heights. Illinois American Water disputing residents' claims, calling their testing, quote, informal. But the efforts to collect samples to test are growing. The East St. Louis NAACP says they'll begin collecting and testing the water, while Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski is calling for the CDC to investigate.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got your Money Minute from Bloomberg coming up next. It's 7:35.
Hey guys, it's Dave from The Glover Show, trying to explain The Glover Show. So when I was a younger man, I used to go to happy hour almost every night, and I loved it. And I've always thought of my show as being like happy hour. It's always interesting. It's often silly, but not always. You know, there are real things to talk about amongst friends, politics, and personal things. So that's what it is, really. It's happy hour for thousands of us every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. And I hope you'll tune in and join the happy hour.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Time now for your money report, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. Oil markets have been in turmoil since the war on Iran effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz. The International Energy Agency is warning that the current supply disruption is the largest in the history of the global oil market. Crude is jumping once again this morning. That's weighing on stock futures, which are pointing to losses at the open. Shares of Petco surging this morning, the company giving a financial outlook for the year that topped Wall Street expectations. Petco has spent the past year working on a turnaround, focusing on improving profitability by closing stores. And a Costco shopper is suing the retailer, saying the company should reimburse all customers who paid higher prices on its products because of President Trump's tariffs. The lawsuit is one of at least 5 proposed class action cases in which a customer is suing a company for tariff refunds. Ray-Ban maker EssilorLuxottica and FedEx have also been sued by clients. No comment so far from Costco. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
For nearly 100 years, Busey Wealth Management has helped families and businesses make smart financial decisions that stand the test of time. From personalized investment plans to tax strategies that work for you, we take a big picture approach, connecting you with the right experts to help protect what you've built and plan for what's next. Busey Wealth Management, here for every chapter of your financial story.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX from the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-566-3062. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-566-3062. That's 800-566-3062. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Here in St. Louis, we take pride in supporting our health and our community. That's why more and more families are turning to Neovitin multivitamins, created by a local physician and made right here in the U.S. using the highest quality domestic and international ingredients. With formulas for men, women, and adults 50 plus, Neovitin helps keep St. Louis families energized, supported, and ready for life. Find Neovitin at your local Dierbergs, Schnucks, and online at neovitin.com. Neovitin. Trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Friday morning, it's men's Billikens basketball Atlantic 10 tournament play. Pre-game 10:15, tip at 10:30. Hear all the action here on your home for Billikens basketball, KMOX.
It is 7:41 on Thursday, March 12th. It's Total Information AM. Brian Feldman alongside Debbie Monterrey. Let's get a check of the roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have backups both ways, Brian. On 370 westbound, it's from the Mills out to our city due to roadwork, and eastbound, it's Elm Newtown up through the Discovery Bridge due to roadwork as well. Eastbound Highway 70, Lake St. Louis Boulevard in through Bryan Road's a little slow. K to TR here, still pretty heavy, approaching 94 all the way into 270 from the earlier crash. 364 has a slowdown east of K through Gudermouth, and it's bumper to bumper from about Arena Parkway all the way in through to just before Bennington. Those right lanes are still blocked by that crash. If you're on southbound 61, slow Wentzville Parkway into 64 to about the Boulevard, coming through Clarkson, like Chesterfield Parkway West, all the way to about Maryville Center. It's heavy. It backs up 270 Ballast, and then it's heavy at the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, usual delays. South 170 backs up at the Parkway. Northbound 270, 55 pockets all the way up to Ladue, pretty slow traffic. 44, 141 past Bowles is heavy. Northbound 55, still a little backup north of Imperial. And then again, there's slow traffic. Merrimack bottom up to Butler Hill and all lanes again. Bayless to River to Pear. 44 jams back onto 55 to the Poplar because of an incident. Westbound Mutual Veterans Bridge is jammed as well. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We've got the sun up. It looks like a beautiful morning out the windows here of Studio B and a nice day. But of course, Joe Lundberg, your job is just always interesting because we're up and down, up and down.
It is, and that's typical of March. But these swings, I think, require some Dramamine pills because we went from the 80s a couple of days ago. Today it's only in the 50s, so the downturn is notable but not bad. We're starting out around the freezing mark. And with sunshine, we'll get to 56. Partly cloudy tonight, only 47. Partly sunny tomorrow, gusty wind, we'll get to 60, then 63 Saturday with some sunshine. Then it gets interesting. A storm system will move by to our north and west. It'll drag a cold front into the area Sunday. Ahead of it, windy, mild with low to mid-60s and some showers, maybe a thunderstorm. But then the front comes through and temperatures drop quickly behind it. In fact, there could be snow Sunday night. That's how cold the air mass is that's coming in behind that front. And there may be some flurries around Monday morning. Windy, very cold Monday with clouds breaking for some sun and temperatures struggling to get past freezing. What a change. 30 right now at St. Peter's, 33 in Florissant. Clear the sunshine, 35 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
The news continues at 7:43. A new State of Illinois initiative which launched this week, offering thousands of dollars to some first-time homebuyers.
Those who qualify for the Access Home program can receive up to $15,000 to help with the down payment or closing costs. The assistance is provided as a 0% second mortgage, and repayment can be deferred up to 30 years unless the house is sold or refinanced. There are limitations on household incomes to qualify. More information can be found online at ihdamortgage.org. My Martinez, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
A St. Louis real estate advisor says one of the reasons the region has a low inventory of homes for sale is partially due to people's general feelings of uncertainty.
They want certainty. A seller wants certainty that when they put their home on the market, they can sell it. A buyer wants certainty when they jump in the market, they're going to be able to buy. The geopolitical, what's happening in the world right now, there's just a lot of moving parts that have created insecurity.
That's Mark Gelman with the Gelman team. He says homes on the market experienced a national increase in sales last month, something the St. Louis region doesn't typically see until spring. Gelman says that tells him the St. Louis market fluctuates based off inventory instead of following the traditional seasons. It's 7:45.
And I'm Tom Ackerman in Jupiter, Florida with the Cardinals. Michael McGreevy on the hill today for St. Louis. We'll have it for you on KMOX. Cards and Mets here at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. Sean Manaea goes for New York. This is a competitive time for these Cardinals pitchers trying to make this rotation. Will they go with a 5-man, 6-man rotation? Who is going to be in the mix? Certainly Dustin May, who pitched yesterday, 3 2/3, gave up 1 run on 2 hits. He walked 2, but he struck out 3. An emphatic pump of the fist as he struck out his final batter yesterday in West Palm Beach. Cardinals lost to the Nationals 3-1. But Andre Palante, one of those who is in the mix, is one of those pitchers who can offer great advice. He has been through a lot in his career as a starter and a reliever, and told me in an interview that will air tonight on Countdown to Opening Day that when he goes behind the scenes for us here in a pitcher's meeting, how he offers advice to young pitchers who might go through the same thing.
You know, it's kind of one of the conversations we had a couple days ago in our pitchers meeting. We're talking about situations, and it's like, you never know how your career is going to take shape. You know, you could like look at, I think McGreevy is an example of like kind of the opposite path of what I had. You know, he's only been a starter, and because of that, he's only got like 90 service days, and it feels like he's been on the team for 2 years, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And, you know, it's for him, it's like that. And then you had a situation where me, it was like, okay, I was a bullpen arm for a year, then I started for a little bit, then a bullpen arm, then a starter, then a bullpen arm, starter, all that stuff. And so really just, you know, stay focused on making yourself the best pitcher you can be, because everything else will figure yourself out if you're truly belong to the big leagues. So that's the big thing I try and preach to guys is, you know, regardless of what's going around you, regardless of your situation, if you're continuing to improve and you are and you belong in the big leagues, you'll find yourself in the big leagues.
Andre Palante stepping up as a veteran leader on this young Cardinals team. They'll play the Mets this afternoon. The World Baseball Classic, former Cardinal Albert Pujols managing the Dominican Republic last night in a wild atmosphere down at Lone Depot Park, beat Venezuela 7-5. The Dominican Republic team advances to play Korea. Venezuela has to face Japan now, and the United States gets in. Team USA, because Italy beat Mexico 9-1, will play in the quarterfinals. Italy and the U.S. move on, and the U.S. will play Canada in Houston. Robbie Avila, the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year, 12.6 points per game, 4.1 assists per game. Stats don't tell the whole story about Avila's importance to this team. And on that note, plantar fasciitis, it is a touchy situation right now. Hopefully he has enough to be able to play tomorrow morning, 10:30 tip, 10:15 pregame against the winner of Fordham and GW in the first round for them in the A-10 tournament. Missouri State advances in the Conference USA tournament. They beat number 1 seed Liberty last night, 77-69. Mizzou gets Kentucky today. Illinois plays in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Right now, at this moment, both SLU and Mizzou looking like they're in good shape for the NCAA tournament if they can keep moving, because a lot of these bubble teams have been knocked off. Blues play tonight at Carolina, 6 o'clock face-off. I'm Tom Ackerman in Jupiter on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
St. Louis's unofficial holiday is almost here. It's Cardinals opening day, Thursday, March 26th. And KMOX's Cakes and Eggs, presented by Budweiser, is back. This year with a new twist. You don't need a ticket to enjoy KMOX's live broadcast at Cardinals Nation inside Ballpark Village, featuring Cardinals alumni, front office personnel, special guests, and so much more. First come, first serve. Doors open at 9 a.m. Celebrate this hometown holiday with Dirt Cheap and Budweiser. For more details, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:50, time for another check of the roadways and the weather as well. Roger Brand has the very latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have jam traffic both ways, Debbie. On 370 eastbound, it's just east of Elm Newtown up to the Discovery Bridge. Westbound, it's approaching the Mills out to 141. Road work in the culprit in both cases there. Eastbound 270 North County, Lindbergh to Interbelt slow. Eastbound 70 from Highway A through Lake St. Louis Boulevard's heavy. It's jammed. From Hawks Nest to the Blanchette Bridge, slow past 270 from an earlier crash. 364 starts to slow down near Heritage Crossing. It's bumper to bumper near the 94 Mugi exit, all the way in through Amiot. We had that crash before Bennington. I think they still have at least the right lane or two lanes blocked there. Southbound 61P down to Wentzville Parkway, 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard's kind of busy. Boone's Crossing all the way into Maryville Center. 270 to Spady and right at McKnight through to Big Bend's bumper to bumper. Westbound 64 Hampton to Big Bend is heavy. Clayton Warson out to Ballas is slow. South 170 south of Olive delays. North 270 55 all the way to Ladue is heavy. Eastbound 44 east of 141 to Miraz. West of Elm to Laclede Station is kind of slow. Northbound 55 looks good down south now, but the right lanes are slow. south of Butler Hill to 270, all lanes south of Rivas up to Rue de Pere, and then it backs up again north of Arsenal on 44 near Jefferson, up past an incident we've had at the Poplar Street Bridge on eastbound 44, and westbound 70 still jammed west of 64 across the Muswell Veterans Bridge. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather's looking pretty good for the next couple days. Mostly sunny today, high of 56 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight, low of 47. Sunny and some wind, high of 60 tomorrow. And then on Saturday, a little bit warmer, high of 63. Sunday, however, there will be some showers and thunderstorms and then some possible snow at night. Lows will be into the upper 30s, low 40s. Right now, we have clear skies and 33 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:52. A Costco shopper is suing the retailer to get his tariff costs back.
The lawsuit filed in Illinois is seeking class action status. It claims Costco owes its customers refunds now that the Supreme Court has ruled President Trump's tariffs were illegal.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing.
Costco CEO has said if the company does receive tariff refunds from the federal government, it will return them to customers through lower prices. The Court of International Trade has said the government should refund $166 billion in tariff revenue. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The Department of Justice has reached a tentative settlement with Live Nation, the concert giant that includes Ticketmaster. The settlement includes a $300 million payout from Live Nation to the participating states, a portion of which go to disgruntled customers. But KMOX's legal analyst Brad Young says some states are not satisfied with the settlement.
And it's not just blue states. It's not like a red and a blue, right and a left situation, because you have states like Illinois and New York, but also you have Tennessee and Ohio that are part of the state group trying to get Ticketmaster broken up as a company.
In a statement from Monday, Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul said the settlement, quote, does not adequately remedy the negative impact of Live Nation's actions.
Washington University is partnering with 7 other Midwest universities, setting up shop in San Francisco.
Be able to put ourselves out there in the Bay Area and pitch our companies that are being developed at these institutions in front of what is one of the biggest sources of venture capital in the United States.
That's Washington University's Doug France. He says WashU innovations have led to as many as 40 current startups in St. Louis and as many as 1,200 jobs. The hope with Third Coast Foundry is that these startups can have greater access to venture capital and remain here.
New data shows more Illinois students are taking and scoring high on advanced placement exams compared to students in other states. WBBM's Carolina Garibay reports.
Illinois students ranked 5th in the nation for scoring high on AP exams. That's according to the latest College Board data. It shows that in 2025, 31.4% of Illinois public high school graduates earned a 3 or higher on at least one AP exam. On a 5-point scale, 3 is the minimum score to qualify for college credit. The percentage of Illinois students scoring a 3 or higher on an AP test has increased more than 8 percentage points over the past decade.
2 libraries that were damaged by the tornado last May are set to reopen. The Julia Davis and Cabanne branch libraries have been closed since last May the 16th. The branches underwent extensive repairs, including replacement of the HVAC systems, roofs, and carpets. At the Davis branch alone, the storm caused more than $2 million in damage. Justin Strutman, an official with St. Louis Public Library, shares his initial reaction to learning about the damage last year.
I mean, sadness, devastation, but also, we had people in the building at the time. And, when disaster strikes, people step up.
Officials say both locations are expected to reopen by late May once the final phase of construction is complete.
Buc-ee's fans might want to check their receipts. KMOX's Michael Calhoun explains why.
The beloved roadside giant, known for its beaver mascot and massive stores, is getting poor marks from the Better Business Bureau. 33 of the chain's locations have received F ratings, with the BBB citing 88 unresolved customer complaints over 3 years. Among them, a customer charged $82 for $17 worth of items and another billed for gas that was never pumped. The BBB says Buc-ee's has not only ignored the complaints, it's told the Bureau outright it won't respond to them. The Texas-based chain has more than 50 locations across 11 states. The nearest to St. Louis is in Springfield, about 3 hours down I-44 from St. Louis. That one is not listed on the BBB's website.
It is now 7:57.
They say good things come to those who wait, unless you bite into a Hot Pocket right out of the microwave. Waiting to see a financial advisor about retirement could also bring some pain. The pain of watching your money evaporate in a stock market decline. The pain of trying to figure out Social Security and Medicare on your own. Or the pain of writing huge checks to the IRS that you really didn't have to. At the All Financial Group, they believe the more you know, the better decisions they can make. They offer a complimentary retirement assessment. Find out where you are, how you're doing, and if there's a way to improve your retirement outcome. Don't wait. Call the All Financial Group today, 636-230-8824, or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com and set up your complimentary retirement review.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Okay, class, let's begin.
Psst, love your boots. I just sold a pair like that on eBay.
Oh, really? Yeah,
it took like 2 seconds to list and they sold almost immediately. I've been selling everything lately. Some chunky boots, a faux fur coat I never wore, and a vintage chair that was more of an expensive clothing rack.
You know, I actually bought these on eBay. Wait, are you Kitty Sell Stuff from Brooklyn?
Okay, quiet, please.
Find what you love, sell what you don't. eBay, things people love.
Want consistent color for every job? Milo's Pro Rewards members get a 20% paint discount on future purchases after paint annual qualifying spend reaches $3,000. Plus, order eligible in-stock paint and paint supplies by 2 p.m. for free same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Improving is easy at Lowe's. Excludes spray paint and mist tints. More exclusions, terms, and conditions apply. Subject to change. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Same-day delivery valid in select zip codes. Subject to driver availability. Details at Lowe's.com/same-day delivery.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty. That the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Bernie Miklas here for Saliga Heating and Cooling. Our family's called the Saliga family for 18 years, and we are grateful for Saliga's honesty, knowledge, and professionalism. They're the best. For more info, visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
It is 7:59. Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's tough coming out of St. Charles County right now, Brian. If you're on eastbound 370, it's backed up Elm, Newtown, all the way across the Discovery Bridge. If you're eastbound on Highway 70, it's backed up Cave Springs through 5th Street and then slow into the Rock Road. And eastbound 364 backs up near Heritage Crossing before you get to 94 Mugie across the Veterans Bridge, and it's slow pockets most of the way to Bennington. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Crew members being rescued after an Iranian strike on their commercial ship in the Middle East as the war enters day 13. With the focus on global energy supplies, Iran continues to target ships in the Strait of Hormuz, driving up oil prices around the world. The BBC's Barbara Platt-Usher is in Doha.
The Gulf is burning, so to speak. You've had those strikes on the 2 foreign-owned vessels in Iraq's territorial waters near the Basra port. You also have a big fire in Bahrain, where Iranian attacks hit oil and fuel tanks near the international airport. The smoke is very thick there.
IEA member countries, including the U.S., have agreed to open spigots on emergency supplies. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
They're releasing 400 million barrels of oil, and that's the largest in history. And so the idea is if you put more supply of oil into the market, you're going to see prices go down. But they didn't yesterday. And I actually just checked, and oil's back above $90 a barrel. And the reason why is that this release was already baked into the price of oil. Oil traders saw this coming. It was very telegraphed.
U.S. gas prices have hit an average of $3.60 a gallon. President Trump took aim at a fellow GOP lawmaker at a stop in Kentucky. Correspondent Weijia Jiang is at the White House.
On the road rallying for the midterms, President Trump targeted one of his chief critics in the Republican Party, Thomas Massie.
Massey's a complete and total disaster as a congressman and, frankly, as a human being.
Massey led the charge to force a Senate vote to release the Epstein files, something Trump resisted for months.
The president has endorsed Massey's challenger, Ed Galrine, in May's primary. They're still picking up the pieces after deadly storms in the Midwest. This woman survived a tornado in Madison County, Indiana.
It's a little scary. The whole place was rocking and things fell off the counters and the walls. I opened the door and all I heard was whir, 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 and everything was blowing.
An elderly couple killed when an EF1 twister hit their home in Wheatfield. There's a legal fight now over a tribute to law enforcement that responded to the January 6th attack. CBS's Jim Krasula.
Police officers who defended the U.S. Capitol on January 6th have asked a federal judge to allow their lawsuit over the long-delayed installation of a plaque honoring their service to continue. It comes just days after the plaque was quietly hung at the end of a hallway in the middle of the night.
Dow futures are down 405. This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
It is 8:03, and we do have plenty of sunshine right now in downtown St. Louis, 34 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey. The National Weather Service has confirmed 4 tornadoes touched down in the Metro East. 3 EF1s hit Grafton, Morrow, and parts of St. Clair County, and EF0 with 85-mile-per-hour winds moved through Williamson near I-55. Damage was reported across the Metro East. 1 person was injured when a roof was ripped off. A brief EF1 tornado touched down in rural St. Clair County. Weather officials say that tornado had maximum winds of 94 miles per hour.
St. Clair County Emergency Management Agency Director Herb Simmons says, fortunately, there were no injuries.
Now the neighbors are pitching in, helping one another clean up their yards. And the good thing is it looks like the people were insured. So that's always a good thing.
The areas that were hit by the twister are Marissa, Lensburg, and St. Laborie. Simmons says fire chiefs from those areas all reported the tornado warning sirens all sounded. Simmons says Ameren, Illinois had a 75-foot pole that was still energized. However, power had to be cut in order to reset the pole. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
2 people have been charged in connection with a fatal shooting in Alton. 42-year-old John Anthony was shot at Oakwood Estates early Tuesday morning. He died a short time later at an area hospital. 19-year-old Isaiah Pearson is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection to Anthony's death. And 20-year-old Janiyah Hardiman is charged with obstructing justice, according to our news partners at Fox 2. Officers say she lied to investigators and told them she didn't know Pearson. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe ordering flags to fly at half-staff today in honor of a Butler County firefighter killed in the line of duty. Shift Commander Jackson Warren died March 6th when the brush truck he was driving to a grass fire crashed and overturned. Flags will be lowered at government buildings in Butler County, firehouses statewide, and the Firefighters Memorial in Kingdom City. Former Florissant police officer facing a prison sentence after searching the phones of 20 women for nude photos. The FBI St. Louis division says 31-year-old Julian Alcala illegally searched the women's phones after pulling them over. He would tell the victims that he needed to take their phones back to his patrol car to confirm their insurance or vehicle registration, and then he would go through their phones and take pictures of any nude photos he found. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. The state-appointed board taking control of the St. Louis City Police Department is asking for millions more to make needed repairs to their buildings. Are they spending the money that they're currently receiving?
Of the $16.4 million the department received for maintenance, around $5.5 million is specifically for facility management, according to the city's budget director, Paul Payne. Payne shares how much they've spent thus far.
Facilities has spent 3.2.
And we've got about 3 months left in the current fiscal year?
Yes.
3 months to spend the remaining $2.2 million. Payne says the city's Board of Public Service handles larger, more serious work, but there are many needs across the city's many buildings, and they cannot get to all of them every year. The majority of the rest of the $16.4 million is intended for fleet maintenance. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A utility company is disagreeing with the findings of E. coli in the water in Cahokia Heights. This dispute comes after multiple home kitchen tap water tests were positive for E. coli during recent resident-led testing in Cahokia Heights. Illinois American Water is disputing the residents' claims, calling their testing informal, but the efforts to collect samples to test are growing. East St. Louis NAACP says they will begin collecting and testing the water, and Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski is calling on the CDC to investigate. 2 libraries that were damaged by the tornado last May are set to reopen. The Julia Davis and Cabanne Branch libraries have been closed since last May 16th for extensive repairs. At the Davis branch alone, the storm caused more than $2 million in damage. Justin Strutman is an official with St. Louis Public Library and says residents are eager for their branches to reopen this May.
When we put out this latest e-blast, we immediately had a number of folks just saying, thank you, thank you, thank you.
From the KMOX Business Desk, up for a vote today, an additional sales tax at Energizer Park. The St. Louis Port Authority considering a 1% tax that would reimburse the stadium developer for groundwater contamination costs it encountered during construction of the soccer stadium. The contamination was likely due to abandoned underground fuel tanks from long ago. However, the developer had to install a system to divert that groundwater away from the stadium for treatment before it could be discharged into the sewer system. According to the Business Journal, a public hearing on the tax increase will be scheduled. It is 8:08, and we'll take a quick break here for traffic and weather. And then for those of you in St. Charles County, there's something coming up on next month's ballot called Prop RT. We'll take a closer look next.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new brick you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-6623. 800-499-6623. 800-499-6623.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Guys, Kevin Wheeler here for Burn Balance Complex, which is the latest tool you can find at supplement superstores. It is top of the line. This is a complete metabolism system, not just a fat burner. So you get the metabolism boost, all-day focused energy with no jitters or crash. You get help with appetite control and cravings, and it'll reduce stress by lowering cortisol levels. It is a fantastic tool, especially for those who don't want prescriptions or injections. So get out to supplement superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 8:10 and time for us to check in with Roger Brand. He's keeping his eye on things in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We still got a lot of delays out there, Debbie, if you're hitting the highways right now, especially for St. Charles County drivers. It's been sort of a tough morning. Eastbound 370, you've still got backed up traffic from Elm Newtown all the way in through 94, almost to 141. Westbound from the Mills to 141 is pretty heavy. Roadwork both ways. The culprit, obviously. Eastbound 70, still stop and go east of Cave Springs to the Blanchette Bridge, slow to the Rock Road. 364 from 94 Mugi to 141, and then Bennington to 270. Those are both slow. They cleared that crash. It's just volume unwinding, so that's the best route of the bunch. Eastbound 64, still a little busy. Prospect to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Approaching Boone's Crossing, it goes almost all the way to 141, and then it's heavy again east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley heavy. South 170, a couple of slow spots. Delmar to 64, North 270, 55, all the way up to Ladue, still busy. 44, Elm to Laclede Stations heavy. Northbound 55. The right lane still a little slow at Butler Hill. All lanes backed up. Bayless up to River to Pear. And downtown, we've got crash blocking eastbound 44 at the Poplar. So 44 is at Jefferson, and it's jamming 55 at Gravois to that point. The westbound Poplar is heavy from about 3rd Street. 64 still backed up through 159, 5570 from 159 through Keebler's on the brakes, and westbound 70 jams approaching the Musel Veterans Bridge across to the Missouri side. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Plenty of sunshine today, a nice afternoon, albeit on the chilly side, the high 56. Partly cloudy and breezy tonight, low 47. Tomorrow, partly sunny, a gusty wind, high 60. Some sunshine Saturday, becoming breezy, high 63. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Right now we have sunny skies. It's 35 degrees in downtown St. Louis. A new campaign has kicked off in St. Charles County to raise awareness of the needs of those living with disabilities. Denise Cross is with the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board of St. Charles. Denise, first of all, how many people in St. Charles County live with intellectual and developmental disabilities?
Well, hi, thanks for having me. The prevalence rates vary, but the one that we're using comes from the CDC, and it indicates that there's about 7,000 people in St. Charles County living with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Of course, it's not just them that our services try to impact positively, but also their families, their employers, their loved ones, and friends. So that number actually grows of the lives that the DDRB touches.
And how does your Developmental Disabilities Resource Board fit into the picture?
Sure. So St. Charles County has really had a long history of supporting people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Almost 50 years ago, we're about to celebrate our 50th anniversary. Taxpayers enacted a property tax bill or a tax levy to provide funding so that St. Charles County could have great services for people. How we use that funding, we fund almost 30 different agencies to provide a variety of services. And we try to make sure that there's services available across all life stages, early childhood to retirement, all different types, like living, working, playing in the community. And some of those services we provide or we fund directly. Some of those we work directly with indirectly with the Department of Mental Health through their Medicaid waiver system. We try to use local tax dollars to meet local needs and fill in gaps where other funding sources can't fill.
There is an item, I believe, that will be on the April ballot for St. Charles County voters, and that is Proposition RT. So for people who have not heard of this yet, what is it? What does it do? And are you for or against it?
Well, the DDRB being a public entity, we're a political subdivision. We're not allowed to take a position for or against, but what we are allowed to do is to share information that just will help voters make the best choice that they can make when they go to the ballot. So we can't really come out as for or against, but essentially Proposition RT is a ballot measure beyond the ballot April 7th in St. Charles County, and it would limit the funding growth for agencies like the DDRB and other political subdivisions that get property taxes by freezing the property taxes at the 2024 value, the assessment rates. What this means for agencies like the DDRB is that our revenues would be frozen. Right now we have a mechanism that limits the growth of our revenues. So already in place called the Hancock Amendment that protects voters from a windfall. This would freeze that even more. And what it would do over time is lead to, just as costs to do business go up and our revenues stay flat, there's just no way that we'd be able to keep up, leading to some really difficult choices in the future of, meaning like if we were to keep one service or one agency that we fund healthy, it would have to come at the expense of another service or another agency.
That is on top of the fact that the state of Missouri seems ready to cut a lot of money that would go to local communities for services just like this. I know I talked to some groups who traveled to Jefferson City in the last couple of weeks to testify about what state cuts would mean. And one woman said, there is no insurance policy that families can buy. There is no other safety net to the safety net. Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that. And I watched those families mobilize and get active, and it was a pretty impressive force they were. And I know that they're still working on that. Where the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board of St. Charles County fits in is like I said, we try to fill funding gaps. If those cuts were to become reality, the DDRB just wouldn't be in a position to be able to fill those, impacted more by the passage of Proposition RT if that were to come to pass.
I noted that St. Charles City is talking about cutting a lot of money from services for buses because they said it's just getting expensive and there's not enough usage. Are you concerned about kind of the drips and drabs of cuts here and there and how that is going to overall impact people who may need extra help like that?
Well, sure. Anything that impacts the public in general impacts people with disabilities even that much more. The need for transportation services in St. Charles County for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities is huge. That's the number one thing that we hear about when people call us asking for resources is I need help getting to my job. I need help getting to my service, my doctor, those kind of things. So, cuts to services and transportation would impact the disability community a lot.
So what would you say to people listening in St. Charles County about the need to continue to fund programs for families dealing with IDDs?
The IDD community is our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers. So even if a family doesn't have a member that has an intellectual developmental disability, 9 times out of 10 they know somebody, they interact with somebody, and oftentimes those people are supported by services that the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board funds. And I would say that the DDRB really takes its responsibility seriously to be a good steward of taxpayer dollars. I would encourage people to take a look at their property tax bill, flip it over on the other side, and they'll see a line that says, I think it says DEVDIS, DEVDIS, but standing for developmental disabilities. And you can see how much of that money on your property tax bill goes to the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board. We certainly appreciate the efforts our lawmakers are making to make sure that taxing is fair and equitable. We just want to make sure that people understand the impact it would have for their friends and neighbors with intellectual and developmental disabilities. At the DDRB, we're really excited that we just recently learned that our partnership with 3 other counties, we work in partnership with St. Louis County, St. Louis City, and Jefferson County, just to make sure that our funding practices are as easy to access for people, and just we know best practices. We call that the Eastern Region Alliance, and we're excited that we just learned that the Eastern Region Alliance will be honored by Focus St. Louis with a What's Right in the Region Award, and just super proud to be a part of that.
March is, by the way, Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, and April 7th is the election in which Prop RT will be on the ballot.
Thanks for mentioning March being Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. We are excited. We have a series of things that we do that month every year, but this year it'll be even more. We have a yard sign campaign that just, if people want to grab a yard sign from our office, they're free, that just say we support inclusive communities for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We'd love to see those in as many yards as possible in March.
That is Denise Cross with the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board of St. Charles County, joining us on Total Information AM. It's now 8:20. Let's get a check of the roadways if you're just heading out, or maybe you're stuck somewhere. Let's see if we can sort it out with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, there's still people sitting in traffic, Debbie, that's for sure. On 370, you've got stop-and-go pockets from Elm Newtown all the way up through 94 to the Discovery Bridge. We had a crash before 94 as well. I can't see it. I think it's just east of Elm Newtown because there's a little bit of a break there. Westbound 370 from the Mills out to 141, you've got a roadwork backup. 94 southbound is jammed south of Highway B, the Boshertown area, and that's coming down all the way to the 370 interchange because of all that 370 traffic. Eastbound Highway 70 from east of 370 is slow till you get to about Zumbel, and then it's jammed to 5th Street, still heavy into our city. 364 is a lot better. 94 Mugie across the Veterans Bridge, the heaviest part. Pockets from west of Long Road all the way in through about Timberlake on eastbound 64, a little slow past Ballas, and east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt, Hampton to Hanley. On the westbound side, it's busy. North 270, still pretty heavy most of the way from north of 55 up to 64, 55. Bayless up the river to Pear. 55 is also backed up from Arsenal and 44 from Jefferson, most of the way to the Poplar. They did clear that crash to the Poplar. Westbound 70 still jams approaching the Musial Veterans Bridge, and westbound 5570 west of 159 through Keebler is still backed up. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we're looking at a nice couple of days before it gets stormy on Sunday and then cold. In the meantime, mostly sunny, high 56 today, high around 60 tomorrow, and then Saturday, sun and clouds, breezy 63. Right now, we've got sunshine 35 degrees downtown.
Right now, new FanDuel customers can get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days if your bet loses. Here's how it works. Place a tournament bet using the token, and if it doesn't hit, you'll get up to $300 back in bonus bets every single day for 10 straight days. That's 10 chances to play all tourney long, from game props and money lines to spreads, totals, futures, and more. You can even mix things up with same-game parlays for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to fill out your bracket, FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the action day after day. FanDuel.com/Missouri to sign up today. FanDuel, it's time to dance. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Must apply select token each day. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Tokens are received in increments of 1 per day. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Larry Elder here. You know, one of the most rewarding parts of sharing Relief Factor with you is hearing real stories like that of Sandra. She tells us, I've been hearing about Relief Factor on the radio for a couple of years, and I finally decided to try it because nothing else was helping my back pain. I know the feeling. With a 3-week quick start, she said, I went for it. Now I feel like a new person. That's Sandra's own words, and it's so gratifying to hear. I've told you about my brother Kirk having difficulty going up and down the stairs in the morning. He wouldn't listen to me. I told him to take Relief Factor. He finally did. Began moving better, feeling stronger. Too bad he didn't listen earlier. Try it for yourself. The 3-week quick start, and see how Relief Factor could be your game changer too. It is only $19.95. Think about it. Do the math. Less than $1 a day. So call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com. All one word, relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com, or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
It is 8:24. Total Information AM continues. Are sugary cereals bad for you and your family? This morning on Total Information AM, we continue our tour of the grocery aisles with registered dietitian Michelle Wilson of Brands Nutrition.
So I'm trying to find an example here, but something that can be great to watch out for is the whole grain stamp. So whenever we get our foods, we can see like a little bit of the signage there that says that it is made with whole grain. And then sometimes there's like a little picture on the cereal boxes that looks like a little stamp, or something that's designated on the top of it that says that it's made with whole grain. So for instance, we have something like Reese's Puffs. It says that there's 15 grams of whole grain per serving. You might not have thought of that whenever you're thinking of Reese's, Reese's peanut butter cup as like the dessert, or even like the cereal itself. You think that would be like a sweeter cereal, so it couldn't possibly have those nutrients. But checking for those whole grains, we have a lot of our Big G General Mills cereals that are made with whole grains per serving. They are having where that's like the first ingredient. So there's a lot of options there that even if like Cookie Crisp, for instance, it's going to be made with whole grain, even though you wouldn't think it.
So does that balance out the sugar?
Yeah, so whole grain can help. You're catching on. So it definitely can balance out the sugar because we have a little bit more fiber in those whole grains. But also we have cereals that have, similar to like what I was talking about in the bakery section, or even in the baking aisle, we have cereals that have nuts and seeds in with them. And that can help balance things out too. So we have like Honey Bunches of Oats with almonds, for instance, or Raisin Bran. We're going to have a lot more fiber, and that can help balance things out too and keep you fuller for longer. If you just have a cereal that isn't made with whole grain or doesn't have any nuts or fruit added to it, then we might notice that we get really hungry really quickly. So we want it to have a little bit more staying power to it. But the incorporation of regular breakfast can help you feel hungrier sooner regularly through the day. And that's a good thing. That's our metabolism knowing we have access to food. But some of these things can get a little bit pricier. It's great to look for things that are on sale. But I like to take like the base thing, like a bran flake, and then just add my own preferred nuts and dried fruits to it. That way I'm having what I prefer and I'm not paying extra for them to mix it for me.
Granola, is it a good snack?
Granola is made with whole grain because it's made with oats. So it's an amazing option. Again, we have some more nuts and dried fruits that can be added into it. It can be a bit higher in fat, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but just knowing that that can contribute to that piece because of the way that it's baked. So it can definitely be great to add. I joke that my partner didn't know that Raisin Bran Crunch, the crunch part of Raisin Bran Crunch was granola. I was like, you can just add more granola. You like it. You eat Raisin Bran Crunch. And he's like, oh, that's what that is. So yeah, it can definitely be a great part of a balanced breakfast.
That is Megan Lynch speaking with registered dietitian Michelle Wilson of Brands Nutrition. It is 8:28.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Here's something else about Lederman Law Firm and estate planning that maybe people don't realize. You see, the documents alone aren't enough. And my family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm in St. Louis for over 20 years. One of the things I really appreciate is that I didn't just work with one person. I worked with a team. I have worked with several different people at Lederman Law Firm, and you can tell right away it is a true team, from the lawyers to the paralegals to the assistants. Everyone knows the plan. You never feel like you're being handed off. Everybody is part of it. And a major part of that is their dedicated funding team. They make sure our assets and our beneficiaries are actually lined up with our plan, accounts, property, all of it working together the way it's supposed to. The Lederman Law Firm's team walks you through that process. A huge reason that we trust them. And if you're in St. Louis and you want an estate plan that works, check out the Lederman Law Firm at ledermanlaw.com or call 314-514-9100.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 442 unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
It is 8:30. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, and here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's still busy on a lot of these routes, Debbie. If you're driving through or into or out of St. Charles County, really, on 370, you still have a jam. Eastbound, it's about midway in from Elm Newtown through to the Discovery Bridge. Westbound is west of the Mills, out to 141. Southbound 94, south of Highway B is jammed coming down into the area to 370 because of all that volume as well. Eastbound Highway 70, Cave Springs, all the way into Earth City. Some of it stop and go periodically. If you're on 364, it's still slow east of 94, Mugie, most of the way to 141, a little slow approaching Bennington after that. Eastbound 64, west of Long Road to Timberlake's heavy, east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley's delayed. North 270, still bogged down. North of 55, we're approaching Tesson Ferry all the way up to Ladue. Northbound 55 itself, you've got slow traffic.
All right. It sounds like we lost Roger. We'll try and reconnect with him in just a bit. But right now, let me tell you about the weather. It's a sunny morning, and it's on the cold side, but it's going to warm up to 56 degrees with mostly sunny skies. Partly sunny and windy tomorrow with a high around 60. Pretty much the same for Saturday with a high of 63. And then we've got a thunderstorm and some showers moving through Sunday. So we could hit 66 degrees on Sunday. Temperatures then start falling into the 40s. And by Sunday night into Monday morning, we could see some snow. We're not really talking about accumulation, but still, right now it's 35 degrees with sunshine. He's kind of the Aaron Spelling of this era. Matt Roush of TV Guide Magazine is joining us, and Taylor Sheridan has another hit on his hand and another one in the pipeline.
Yeah, he's definitely been a hit maker ever since Yellowstone exploded on the scene and all the different spinoffs from that. And his first spinoff that went back to a network on CBS, Marshals, was a big hit when it premiered to some of the biggest ratings of any new network series in the last couple of years. Without a sports lead in, it got something like 10 million people for the linear debut on CBS, and that's a really big number for a TV show. So anything with his name attached tends to be a big hit. Marshals is, like I said, it's a spinoff of Yellowstone, dealing with one of the Dutton sons who's now a U.S. Marshal. But his new show coming up, he's got yet another show in the pipeline, also set in Montana, but it's a very different show. Coming Saturday to Paramount Plus, 3 episodes this week and 3 episodes next week, is a series called The Madison. The Madison refers to one of the rivers in Montana that heads into Wyoming, but it's very, very scenic, and it's also a place for healing. The series is led by Michelle Pfeiffer, playing a woman from New York. She's going from the penthouse to the outhouse, is how I like to put it here, that she relocates with her family after a big tragedy. Kurt Russell plays her husband, and it has a very different kind of a feel to it than your normal Taylor Sheridan show. It isn't much about melodrama. It's more about the drama of healing and using the land and getting back to the land to sort of like be in touch with your own self. And so it's quite moving, actually, and Michelle Pfeiffer is great. But it isn't your typical Taylor Sheridan show, but I have a feeling that with his name attached, with the idea that, again, all that scenery in Montana, it'll probably do pretty well for Paramount Plus.
And nice to see Michelle Pfeiffer again. I don't think I've seen her in anything in quite some time.
Yeah, I think she has an Apple series coming up pretty soon, too. So, yeah, she's making her comeback.
The Oscars are this Sunday.
Yeah, big deal on ABC. So again, it's sort of like the climax of the awards season that began in January with the Golden Globes, and we had so many others. So the people who've been handicapping the movies and trying to predict who's going to win, it really builds to this. The Oscars is the biggest night of the movie awards season, and we'll see how it plays out. There is some suspense in one of the categories with Best Actor in a movie, sort of with when Michael B. Jordan won the what we used to call the SAG Awards, with the Actor Awards last weekend. That was a surprise to a lot of people, but he plays a double role in this big box office hit. So we think maybe it'll go to him, but then there's also Timothée Chalamet and Leo DiCaprio and lots of others. But if you are a little bit behind on your screening of the Best Picture candidates, also wanted to point out that many of them are already streaming. Sinners and One Battle After Another, which is the front runner for Best Picture, they're both on HBO Max. And Peacock just dropped Hamnet, which is just this really emotional movie with Jessie Buckley, who's favored to be the Best Actress winner. The Secret Agent, Brazilian film, is on Hulu. F1 was made by Apple TV, and now it's on Apple TV. And 2 Netflix films are up for Best Picture. So Frankenstein and Train Dreams, if you haven't watched those yet, they might be worth checking out on Netflix to get yourself ready for the Oscars on Sunday.
That is Matt Roush of TV Guide Magazine joining us on KMOX.
Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate. Evans is a proven fighter and the only candidate for U.S. Senate with guts and know-how to get the job done. As an attorney, she took on China and corporate criminals. Jeannie Evans won billions for working families. As senator, Evans will fight and win for you. She'll work to cut taxes and lower the cost of living. Evans believes that keeping Illinois safe will take more than just wishful thinking. It takes courage, and Jeannie Evans has the record to prove it. Evans will always be tough on crime. She'll hold China accountable for trafficking fentanyl and stealing our personal data. Jeannie Evans puts America first. A proven fighter. Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate.
I'm Jeannie Evans, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Jeannie for Illinois.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from,
we can be twinsies,
to,
how was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Hola, amigos! Brad Evans here. Check out this booming voice and Pat Boyle on BetMGM tonight, covering the biggest sports stories from coast to coast, live and interactive on the free Odyssey app, discussing NFL offseason news and getting you ready for the madness in college hoops. BetMGM tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, live and interactive, Monday through Friday night, starting at 6 Eastern, presented by BetMGM. Always live on the free Odyssey app and watch on YouTube at BetMGM tonight.
It is 8:37, and it's time for your money report, which is sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Crude oil prices are really spiking, and stock futures are under pressure as Iran steps up attacks on shipping and on parts of Dubai as well. The cost of plane tickets may jump as much as 9% as oil prices soar. That's according to Willie Walsh, Director General of the International Air Transport Association. Housing starts unexpectedly climbing in January, but the trend may not continue. Building permits slumped. New warning for those taking the weight loss drug Zepbound. Eli Lilly says the active ingredient could pose a risk to patients when mixed with vitamin B12. Petco says it could return to sales growth, thanks in part to pet food, services, grooming, and trading, and as it adds more pets to the selection, including more jumping spiders and tarantulas. And attention shoppers, Trader Joe's coming out with a new canvas bag, this time a large one with lavender handles and a pink logo, according to USA Today. Trader isn't saying exactly when, though, probably hoping you'll go to the store every day to check. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field, hear the stands come alive, smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
Cardinals single-game tickets are now on sale for the 2026 season. The schedule delivers big-time matchups, including weekend series against the Cubs and Dodgers, and visits from the Boston Red Sox. Add in a promotions calendar stacked with fan favorites like all-new giveaways, a Hawaiian short and shirt set, golf-inspired hat, dark mode jersey, and a whole lot more. It's Busch Stadium at its best all season long. Lock in your seats today at Cardinals.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Keeping his eyes on the road for you, that is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's getting better, but it's still pretty tough out there, Debbie. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about St. Charles County and your USPS Ground Advantage reliable route, because a lot of these routes are just not so good. In fact, 370 is not the one to take. It's going to be jammed still midway between Elm, Newtown, and 94 up to the Discovery Bridge. Westbound from the Mills out to our city's jammed. Eastbound 70 still bogged down. Zemba all the way to our city. Our USPS Ground Advantage reliable route is going to be eastbound 364 because that's just a little slow through Bennington. That's the best one out of St. Charles County. But eastbound 64, that's probably second best, but it's still heavy. Boone's Crossing headed up the hill to Clarkson. Then there's heavy traffic from Lindbergh to the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, still slow. North C70, Gravois all the way to Ladue. That's still off the pace. 44 downtown. East of Jefferson up past the Poplar Street Bridge onto 70. Stop and go pockets all the way out through to Grand. A new crash. One at Madison and one at Grand, so it's double trouble on westbound 70. And delays on the Illinois side, 64 west of the 70 split to the Poplar, and the Mutual Veterans Bridge is jammed back to the Illinois side. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we've got mostly sunny skies today with a high of 56, partly cloudy tomorrow and Saturday with highs in the low 60s. Sunday, we'll have some storms moving through, and the temperature is going to drop from the mid 60s into the 40s. And then maybe Sunday night and into Monday morning, we could see some snow. 35 degrees right now.
We've been talking a lot about using artificial intelligence in the workplace, and it's time to look at AI etiquette. What rules should govern the use of technology in the professional setting? With me now is Emily DeJay, Assistant Teaching Professor of Business Communication at Carnegie Mellon University. Emily, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Of course, happy to.
Whose responsibility is it to set up that framework, to set those guardrails in a professional setting for how we use AI?
Great question. I think if we're talking a workplace setting, I think that guidance generally should come from above. So I think a lot of professionals in the absence of guidance are going to sort of try to feel their way through what use cases make sense, what sort of use is acceptable. That's just human nature, right? We're going to try to create guidelines for ourselves in the absence of guidelines that have been given to us by some sort of perceived authority figure. The challenge with that is, I think, while we might expect that professionals, maybe they'd come to some kind of general consensus, like, yeah, I shouldn't put anything confidential in there, or maybe I should probably disclose if I'm using this. We could also expect people might come to different conclusions about what kind of use makes sense to them and seems appropriate. And so that could create a sort of scattered, diffuse AI experience, which I don't know that that's a helpful thing for most organizations. I think organizations would like their AIs to be a little bit more strategic, a little more locked down, maybe a little more purposeful. That's why when I work with executives at Tepper, we talk a lot about how do managers, executives, leaders of people create really clear expectations around AI use that offer enough flexibility so people don't feel like their agency is being reduced, but enough guidance so that a team is working as a collective whole towards some kind of shared purpose using norms and means that are kind of aligned with each other.
So under that, what are some of the types of things that you typically recommend are in place, those clear standards for how we're going to use this technology?
Sure. Professionals, if they're in an environment where perhaps AI is prohibited, or if the AI that their company provides is fairly limited, right, kind of lame and not that helpful, professionals will often go and pay for their own subscriptions, and then they will use them on their phones, their tablets. And that it keeps a company rife for privacy breaches. So one of the things that I actually was working with some executives a couple of days ago, and we talked about this, like, what do you do about that? And the decision they came to as fairly high level of executives was, if you're prohibiting AI use might not be tenable, you should probably invest in the very best enterprise solution possible. A lot of these companies provide, kind of top tier subscription-based enterprise solutions. Invest in that, people will have all the capability of a cutting edge, most advanced model paid tool, but then you can fence it so that, if they try to take a picture of something, your tool will recognize no, this is proprietary data, and it will not allow you to upload. I often suggest that, if there are areas in the workflow where you as a leader think this is an obvious case, right? This is repetitive and mundane and could easily be outsourced because it's basically automated in our own brains. Encouraging teams to try and integrate an AI into a workflow right about there, or even saying, moving forward, we're going to integrate AI at this point because we know this is mundane work and we're not going to lose any of the critical thinking that we might need to bring, right? This particular step doesn't involve that. But I also really encourage leaders to avoid creating so many mandated AI uses that you leave your employees feeling like my expertise doesn't matter. I'm not an autonomous, sentient creature of critical thinking. I am just an intermediary for AI. Right? I just move the AI from one point to the other, and then I rubber stamp its output.
Let's say you don't work for a company that is that far along and they've done those steps, and you do want to use AI. How transparent should you be with your employer about your use of these tools?
Yeah, that's tricky because what if what if you have a boss who's scared of this or who doesn't want to invest anything in it, right? I don't want to pay for this, and I'm very aware of data breaches, so you're prohibited from using it. In that case, I think we always have to thread the needle between we don't want to do things at work that could get us fired. And so if you're dealing with corporate data, right, data that exists within the walls of your company, and you understand like this is proprietary in some way, it's a party foul to take that, right, use it on your phone, perhaps for your own purposes without checking it first with your boss, right, or maybe your manager. But I think there's maybe a case to be made for if you have a use case where there's nothing sensitive, this is fairly routine, and I'm going to show my boss that instead of me writing this report, which would take me about this long, I was able to integrate AI in these ways. I got through it, I don't know, 50% faster, and here's the output. What do you think? You could perhaps, almost treat it like a little experiment, right? Where I use AI in this way. I produced this thing. Here were the benefits I saw. Can we talk about this, right? Can we talk about maybe if we can roll this out in a bigger way? Or what if we got the whole team testing this out? Or maybe is this evidence that an enterprise purchase on the part of our company might be worth investing in, even if for a trial run?
Anything else that you can think of on the etiquette front or that you've looked at that you think our listeners would really get some value from?
A great question. The one thing I would say, I think a lot of us assume if I don't disclose AI use, people will not know I used AI. And so I won't disclose it because I maybe don't want people to know that, right? I'm using it, but that's private. And, I looked over it and I have students say this, well, yeah, I drafted it, but I reviewed it and everything like that. It's in my voice. Well, the problem is, and I talked to a couple executives recently who said, one of them in particular, she said, this person who's at a fairly high level in my organization, he sends out these communications as the leader of this large organization. He said, and she said, they're so clearly AI generated. Like, it's just so obvious. It sounds nothing like him, right? When he talks in person, he sounds like this. When you read, it's like, this is not this person's voice. She said, and it really offends people. People are like, does he think we're dumb? Like, we know this isn't him. It feels insulting that he's not taking the time to think about us as he is writing. This is awkward and upsetting to me, and I don't know how to respond. And so this is a case of a leader, I think, assuming nobody knows I'm using AI, right? I'm not going to disclose it, but most people in the organization are pretty confident. Like, all of your communications are AI generated. You should probably either let us know that, or you should change the way you engage with these tools, and you should recognize you have a leadership voice that is important, because when you're a leader in an organization, the messages you send, they communicate information, but they also communicate how you view your subordinates, how you understand your obligations to them. The voice of a leader ends up contributing to the culture of an organization. AI can really intrude there in ways that we might not even realize. So I think the more leaders can recognize that I have a voice, and just outsourcing that voice to AI is probably going to be an issue. And then checking in with people lower on the totem pole, right, about how they're experiencing your leadership voice. I think no leader could go wrong if they took that approach.
That is Emily DeJay, an assistant teaching professor of business management communication at Carnegie Mellon University's Tepper School of Business. It's 8:50 as Total Information AM continues.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
If you need to sell your home, you probably have one major goal: to sell your home quickly and for the most money. I guess that would be two goals, but I'm rolling them into one. Anyway, regardless, that's what most people want. And most people don't get it because they choose the wrong agent. There are a lot of agents out there, but they're not created equally. It's about more than just putting a sign in the yard and sending out some emails. Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty sells more homes than most agents, not just a couple or a few dozen. She and her team sell hundreds of homes a year, and she will guarantee in writing that she'll sell your home at the price and time frame that you both agree upon, or she'll buy it herself so that you know your home is sold. Guaranteed. In fact, she will sell your home at 100% of market value, or she'll even pay you the difference. She's that confident that she'll sell your home. So give her a call. Tell her your situation. Maybe you're looking for different ways to sell your home other than the traditional route. She's got a lot of different ways to do that. 314-325-6888. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Okay, I have some really good news. While we do have the 0% a lot, we do have it on our regular products because you will be unbelievably shocked, especially if you call me and I'll give you the straight up scoop on how much money you can actually save by if you spent $20,000 versus $10,000 on a system. The difference could be as little as, I don't know, let's just say, not to exaggerate, 5 cents. So be careful out there, and always remember your energy savings is based on your house. It is not based on the equipment. So common sense advice and help and guidance. Again, call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest, 314-293-2600. Again, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, that is bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
I'm Ultima Morgan. Every year, almost 30,000 babies in America are born with birth injuries. It's every parent's worst nightmare. If your child suffered a birth injury, please call our firm to find out if we can help.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
St. Louis's unofficial holiday is almost here. It's Cardinals opening day, Thursday, March 26th. And KMOX's Cakes and Eggs, presented by Budweiser, is back. This year with a new twist. You don't need a ticket to enjoy KMOX's live broadcast at Cardinals Nation inside Ballpark Village, featuring Cardinals alumni, front office personnel, special guests, and so much more. First come, first serve. Doors open at 9 a.m. Celebrate this hometown holiday with Dirt Cheap and Budweiser. For more details, KMOX.com/events.
It is 8:53. Thanks for tuning in to Total Information AM. The mass exodus will soon begin. Spring break time, a time when millions of families hit the road for a getaway. Or will it be millions of families? Who knows? And where are they going? Nick Chaveria is with AAA, which also, of course, does travel, AAA travel. Good morning, Nick.
Hey, good morning. Great to be on.
Hey, what is the estimate of how many Americans will be vacationing or traveling starting next week?
Well, we don't quite have numbers like we do for some of our other summer holidays for spring break, just because it's so spread out over the course of the month. But we do know the popular spots. So if you're heading there, you're going to be joined by many other spring break travelers. And no surprise, Florida, very high on the list for domestic travel. Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Tampa, all within the top 10 most popular domestic spring break destination. So whether you're enjoying the theme parks, soaking up the sun, or just getting away to a little bit of warmer weather, Florida seems like the place to be for this spring break.
Now, I do know a lot of people who are heading to Florida next week. Some of them flying, some of them driving, but how do those numbers break down?
Yeah, well, again, the vast majority of folks that will be heading that far will likely be flying. Although driving is a good option, but we know that it could be challenging whether you're flying or driving for this spring break. Certainly, heading to the airports, we know that TSA has been having some backlog at certain security checkpoints around the country. So, some basic tips: remember to get there. They're recommending 3 to 4 hours, even for domestic flights, earlier than your departure time to make sure you can get through security. And then on driving, of course, gas prices we know have jumped in the last week or two. Shop around for that lowest price. You can use the AAA app to plan your route and also see gas stations along that route with their current pricing, so you can plan your stops a little bit better to maybe save some money on gas.
Yeah, that is handy to be able to see what the gas prices are. I wonder if there's any handy way to know about airports, because I have seen videos of the ridiculously long lines at some airports, and then other airports, people are like, nope, I didn't have any problem at all.
There is a My TSA mobile app that can show wait times for your local airport. Now, we'll say that with a word of caution, simply because that app, there's reminders on there that could be impacted by the partial government shutdown as well. So it may not always be up to date, but it could potentially give you a good idea of where wait times are at. But yeah, that's certainly, you don't want to get to the airport, realize there's a long security line, and then be at risk of missing your flight. So give yourself plenty of time, more than you normally would for this spring break, with some of those issues that TSA is experiencing.
Nick Tabaria is with AAA. Thanks so much for the update. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope everybody has a safe and enjoyable spring break.
It is 8:56.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Walking 7,000 steps per day reduces the risk for cancer and chronic disease. A review of studies from Sydney School of Public Health found no